Hello, Eddie and Gary, and all the sensational listeners to the Tea and Trails podcast. I'm Guy, and I'm on the start of the Goodstone Trail, 55k, that direction. Everyone, sit down, put your feet up, grab a cup of tea, and get a hobnob, and enjoy the best hour of the week. One question to everyone: what's your favourite biscuit dunk in a cup of tea? Hobnobs, for me, don't break up. They are sensational.
Welcome to episode 91 of the Tea and Trails podcast. This week we have gone global. 2024 Dragons Back race winner and trail running legend. Could we go as far as royalty?
Oh, I tell you what was royal was his recording from his shared garage gym.
FOMO, huge FOMO going on there.
He was just talking and I was just looking at shelves and shelves of outdoor equipment behind him. And I was just like, what's that? And what's that? And how do you get your hair so sensational like that? Much more interesting than his trail running chat. His trail running chat was quite good too.
Anyway, Max King from across the pond joins us this week for a chat.
We've come full circle, dear listeners. If you are just tuning in, this is the first time you've ever listened to our podcast. Where have you been? But if you are a regular lover, and a listener, you will hear my audio is really echoey. I'm doing as much as I can. But finally, we are in our new house, sans furniture. There is nothing apart from some Hoka Tecton 3s, my running stuff. and in each of the kids' bedrooms, there's it looks like there's a sad little sleeping bag and a pillow where the kids slept on the floor.
I love your chair, Eddie. Your chair is
and
sensational.
I have one chair. They left one chair. That's all we've got.
It looks like it belongs in the Playboy Mansion. It is absolutely fantastic.
Do you want to relax with me? This time next week we'll be in a better place. But so sorry, you're gonna have to put up with the audio, but also it's full circle. You guys have been with me the last 3 months as we've lived out of suitcase. The highs.
I'm so pleased you found your accommodation. Oh my goodness.
Yesterday. Well, okay. Let's just get into the intro. But I just wanted to say, if you're listening first time, you go, oh my God, I can't stand this audio. Suck it up. And it'll be better next week. And to those who do suck it up, that's our Patreons. Thank you. You get an awesome discount code. We have Precision Food and Hydration, Veloforte, Protein Rebel, Tiki Boo, Mountain Fuel, Outdoor Active, Silver Sweden, Active Route, the Centurion Running Store, Sportshoes.com, Big Bubble Hats, Harrier Trail Running, X Miles, Fawnside Farm Cottages, Yugo Group Projects, Hellfire Events, Red Bear Sports, The Album Map, Retainer Group Cycle Protection, Summit Crazy, Beat It Sports, Lumen Activewear, Phoenix Likes UK, Bridgedale Socks, Nav4, Knack Nutrition, and Ultra Trail 2. You sneaked in Harrier Trail Running, one of our new patrons there, and I'm so used to reading it out. I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to go to X Miles. Do you think we should put that in alphabetical order, Gary?
I'm just going to leave it. You can put it in alphabetical order if you want.
Extra shout out to Precision Fuel and Hydration and Protein Rebel. We use their products every week to help fuel and hydrate and recover. I tell you what has come with me and is already set up is my electrolytes, because I'm a sweater. Even in Scotland in October, I still need 1,500 in my bottle to keep me hydrated. And my Protein Rebel protein powder. It is the only protein powder I have found that I can stick it in anywhere and it still tastes delicious.
What times?
Don't you find that though? Like it just tastes good. It doesn't have grit. It's good. I love it.
Oh, I enjoy it. It feels like a treat.
Sometimes I go to add a bit of honey into my smoothie and I'm like, Eddie, no, you do not. You do not.
I should. I see these Instagrammers when they maybe pimp up their porridge with supplements and stuff like that. Maybe I should have like a Protein Rebel porridge.
Oh my God, this is so boring. Come on, carry on.
If you would like to save some money and support the podcast and our partners, please consider joining Patreon. Also, pop over to Summit Crazy if you would like to buy some awesome Tea and Trails merch.
Don't forget, patrons, you can get 15% off over at Precision Fuel and hydration. Also, if you don't want to be a patron, but you just want their code, we're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you, and we're going to give it to you for free because we're those kind of nice people. It's caps lock T24. And if you'd like to taste some of that delicious protein rebel powder, you can try that too with the code T15. All the sponsors can be found in the show notes and over at www.tentrails.com. Another great read via their newsletter about heat training and its possible benefits, not just for hot races. Yes, this is new. This is new literature and lots of chatter about this in the running coaching world, that you can get improvements in your VO2 max, which can benefit any race. So you can do a bit of heat training, and it not only helps you if you're going to train or race in the heat, but you can also see a small marked improvement in your VO2 max for very little. I'm always one for the easy gains, but very little easy gains. And then it's also quite quick as well. So you can quickly get back, heat acclimatize again quite quickly. A couple of weeks before you want a little hit, hot baths, sauna. You could build a sauna in your garden, Gary. You would
not a lot of room. Oh, look at this. I love a sauna, Eddie. Sorry to pick you up on that. But,
no, sauna. I am so sorry. Sauna. Would you...
I'm not time rich, so I'm always mindful that 40 minutes. I don't know what the protocol is for, say, a bath, or maybe going running around Wingate with a puffer jacket on or something.
Yeah, do you want me to tell you? So basically, I think if you're not time rich, the best way to do it is as you're training. Put on the layers, 30 minutes, watch your heart rate, get it up, sweat a lot, 3 to 4 times a week, about 5 weeks before your race, and then about 10 days before your race, do another couple of sessions. The body remembers, and so you can acclimatize. The only problem is getting the balance right, because at the same time you want to be heat acclimatizing, you're probably also doing your biggest volume of training, and it is absolutely exhausting. I did a lot of it when I was a triathlete before I went to Kona, and I used to go in a hot box and run on the treadmill for an hour. I used to lose literally my whole body weight, and it used to take me about 2 days to recover. I actually think it was much harder than it ever was running in Kona. One, running on a treadmill is generally just harder. Then if they pump up the humidity and the heat as well, and you're trying to run race pace, whoa.
You know what, though? If you've got a super big, scary race, cost you a fortune, like one of these lifetime races where you go maybe hard rock, got all that elevation, fill your boots, go for it.
Fill your boots. Can I just lower my screen to say, look what's on my crotch? Oh. Some people don't. It's a dog, by the way, everybody. I know you're thinking. Some people don't like change, and German short-haired pointers are those sort of dogs. I don't like it, Mum.
She'll love it soon.
You do love it. When I opened the door this morning and you went mad.
Freedom.
Yeah, you know that scene with Mel Gibson in Braveheart, the famous one. He's like, freedom. That was Lindy this morning, straight across the fields. Anyway, how are you doing? Come on, let's talk about you. Let's go deep. Let's go deep into Gary thoughts.
Got to admit, I had a bit of post-race blues. I had such a blast, fundamentally. I really, really loved it. And it was just to finish, 60% DNF. So a gigantic task just to finish. And it's left a bit of a hole in it. It's always dangerous. And an event has early bird entries.
I was just going to say, I thought you were about to say, it's always dangerous to fill that hole. And so I had tea in my mouth.
Let's try and keep the door clean this week. We've had crutches and filling holes already.
Oh, I know. I'm a bit mad for it. When you're so tired, you revert to being a 14-year-old boy. No big decisions.
I made a decision already.
Gary, have you learned nothing from Coach Eddie? I think we all know the answer to that. No big decisions post a mega race. Go on, tell me, what have you done?
Well, I'm not too sure if it's going to be the full 13 or the 7. But I think someone needs to order a couple of boxes of Freddos and some Baby Bells for 2025 because, I think I'm going back to those trails. Its head says 7 Valleys, but my heart says 13. Just for another adventure. Oh, goodness me, with Lakeland 100 and that, they're too close together.
Could you get Robbo in on the action?
Robbo's not interested at all.
Why not?
I'm not too. Well, he's Lakeland 100 too, so I think he's a wiser. But yeah, I've encouraged Aaron, one of our other, Aaron, who I went with this year. He's going back.
He's got to get back. Yeah,
he's entered the 7, so he's respecting that challenge.
Well, I think that's a good idea.
But I don't know about you, but I go really feral. When I
can't get worse, Gary. Can't get more feral. So
running is a cue for hygiene for Gary to get a show. And without the running, like,
sorry, when you go to people's houses and they're like home sweet home, there's like banners and stuff like here we love. This is where we share good times. Can we have running? I just like that above my washing machine or shower. Running is a cue for hygiene.
So I probably pushed the limits of personal hygiene last week, but we're running again now, so we are back on track. Apologies for anybody who came close to me last week, but all the post-race classics, wow, I had DOMs, major fatigue. I could literally sleep like that. If I just rested my head on a pillow, I was going to sleep. So much family time, and that is something which I'm always grateful for, because we invest so much time in running, spend the load of all the exercise. It's probably best part of a day. I know I'm kind of loosey-goosey with Rex. There's a lot of non-exercise, but there's a lot of time when I'm not in the house. So to get that time back, just for a week at least, I'm always grateful for that. So much yummy food. I enjoy that curry, donuts and beer. I was inspired when I was speaking to Shane Oley at Ambleside. He put it to me, I can't remember what my answer was actually, but anyway, he put it to me that should Area Events buy a donut making machine for the office? And it sounds dangerous. And I was, because I every time I looked at a donut during the race, I was like, no, that just makes me feel sick. So I think my initial answer wasn't full of enthusiasm. But on reflection, Shane, if you're listening, 100% I endorse the purchase of a donut machine.
There's no goodness in that machine, Shane. Don't do it. Next time I'll see you at a race.
I think that's one thing is that one good thing of the 20th century, how we can cram so much deliciousness into a little ball of fat and
then if
sugar.
It brings you joy, why not? If they have their weekly AREA meeting when they're like, oh Lord, we got to get those yellow suits on again and get out into the wild. Oh, but that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Because if they bought the donut machine, they might not fit in the yellow suits.
Sad times. There is a Krispy
too deep on this one.
There's a Krispy Kreme in the Metro Centre, and you can see their factory, so you can actually watch them make the donuts.
Don't tell Brian that. This is
one of the best nights of my life. We'd already bought donuts, and then out of the kindness of their heart, they brought out all the rejects. So they gave us the reject donuts. Fun times. And I'm still, last week, I had a filthy cold. Not great. But heart rate is tanked, which I fully expect. But my resting heart rate's gone up by about 4 or 5 beats a minute.
Classic. Totes classic.
Yeah, classic. But all the numbers are currently pants. But I've got to say, we're nearly 2 weeks out from 13 Valleys, best part of 2 weeks. So I'm feeling better, but the numbers are not looking so good. So we've got cross country this weekend. I'm going to look at the numbers and not listen to the body. I think if the numbers are bad, I will not be.
Big comeback. That is 2 weeks off straight.
So I'm running. I've done a few runs already.
I've seen you run
next week.
They're not.
But exactly. It is like. So I'm in like zone 3 when normally I'd be in zone 2 because not good.
That cross country. Oh my God.
It's kind of a whole new world if I do that cross country. We'll see how the numbers go, but looking at where they are now, they were going down before 13 Valleys, and they picked up a little bit, and now they are probably the lowest they've ever been. Friday, I had a breakfast date with my lovely wife. She ran, and then we met up for breakfast, and I know how to treat a girl, Eddie. Anything she wanted from the Morrison's Cafe menu, anything at all. I loved it. Yeah, really nice. Again, because always running, always working, and just have that bit of extra time. I'm really becoming this middle-aged man. We're looking to purchase an electric car.
I know.
Not a new one.
Your Google search history, we went through it quite heavily last week.
Not a new one. Have you seen how much a new electric car costs? Wow. I could not afford a brand new
No.
one. So we were looking at second, pretty new. And this is maybe a reflection on the electric car industry. Oh, goodness me, we're going like Top Gear. This is like a Top Gear podcast. But this car's not even a year old that we're looking at. And it's over half, it's like lost more than half its value.
Yeah, this is the thing.
But I've become a bit of a, again, this is my like middle age, I'm easing nicely into middle age. I'm on the PodPoint app. And I know where all the charges are, if they're free, if they're physically free, and if they cost anything. So yeah, that's basically my life at the moment. So yeah, we got the PodPoint coming for that sounds super exciting for me.
I tell you what though, Gary, every time you plug your car in, you go, saving the planet. I'm saving the planet.
Well, it's not so good on the motorway. We've seen these like the super fast chargers, which cost the same as charging as normal petrol or diesel. So it's like, well, that's not really much of a
and then they don't work. And then you're like,
God.
Geez.
Well, I'm lucky. All my journeys are pretty local to the lakes and back is the longest I go. Lisa goes to see her mum in London or just outside of London. So she is the one that's got a lot of anxiety around this whole.
We used to make decisions on the journey according if we take the van or the electric car, and they are sensational for short journeys, and you hardly they last forever, apart from when it's -20.
I get really uncomfortable spending a lot of money. But I think so.
And well, we've just bought a house, Gary.
So yeah, fun times anyway.
We're in debt now until we die, basically.
But mortgage is okay, isn't it? That's like an acceptable debt.
Is it?
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay with crippling mortgages. That's fine. So yeah, a bit down emotionally and physically after the race. No exercise. I've been very good, very faithful to that. But lots of time in Rex, lots of mobility stuff. And I think it's time to close the cookie jar. Bit up and a bit down. What about you, Eddie? Come on, hit me. Give me a boost.
Hit me, baby. I can't remember what happened last week. I just know it was really stressful. It's I tell you what, it's very hard maintaining. I'm swanning, Gary. On the outside, I'm a swan. And underneath, I am pedaling manically, trying to keep everything. Last week, I'll give you a little insight. So we were meant to complete on our house on Friday. And this Monday. And on Thursday, we still hadn't had the mortgage approved, and and then our solicitor sent me an email late Thursday night saying, by the way, you need this separate piece of paper independently from me. So you need to instruct your own solicitor to get this piece of paper signed in order for the house to go through. You're telling me on Thursday night I need to do that when it needs to be done tomorrow.
I hate those emails.
Oh, God. So we went to see him on Friday morning, and he looked at me. It's like, basically, this all hinges on you getting this piece of paper signed, and then we can move forward. And he looked at me with a challenge, Gary. And I thought, you think I can't do this, don't you? You think I can't get this piece of paper signed today? Oh, you've not met a woman with 3 children, 2 dogs, running a business and 120k a week, living in a small house.
You want something doing, you give it to a busy person. You
give that to me. So I said, do I need to be in this meeting? Can I leave? I'm going to find a solicitor. And he was like, oh, right, okay. And he's like, no, you don't need to. So I left, and I went back to my car. I sat in my car, opened up Google, and I rang every single solicitor in the 30-mile radius, and I thought, I will find you. I left voicemail. I didn't even really know what I needed to be signed.
You sound like Liam Neeson. Was that his thing? I will find you.
I will find you. I felt like Liam Neeson in Taken. I was like, I will. I rang everybody. I left so many messages. I think I left some people 2 messages because I didn't know. Anyway, I left a lot of messages. If I didn't get through, I used their contact form. And this is the beauty. You know, I talk a lot about like training and stuff and how it helps your everyday life. This was proper. I got proper into like, this is like a tempo session. You do not give up. You keep going. It feels hard. This is the good stuff. This is where the good stuff happens. Anyway, I had a lot of work to do as well. I was going to the World Heart Runners event on the Saturday, and I'd left the Friday free to prepare my presentation. And I spent the whole morning trying to find this. I was like, oh my gosh, my poor cortisol was like literally eating my cells. Anyway, so I was like, right, nothing I can do. I'm just going to have to sit and work. Hopefully someone will ring me back. Anyway, the good Lord works in mysterious ways, and it's been very problematic, us moving back. Again, all problems that are wonderful problems, because even though we've had lots of hurdles, we've taken them all on. This lovely lady rang me back and she said, oh, hello. She was like, yes, I'm not going to do a Scottish accent. I can help you with that. I've just finished all my work for today, so I'm free all day. Why don't you just drive in and we'll sort it out and I'll get it back to your solicitor. Who are you? Are you real? Shall I bring you a latte? So it was an hour drive. I don't care. So I had a great pleasure in ringing our solicitor saying, I found somebody. I'm going to meet her now. Can you send her all the documents? And he was like, oh. Anyway, that was the absolute, I think one of my lowest points was
challenge accepted.
The challenge of trying to do that, as well as working and preparing for, because, Gary, we talk on the podcast and it's just you and me, and I pretend I'm just talking to you and it's just like my bessie and I just chat. It's quite a different experience to go and talk to 100 people in a hall when you're not on you're frazzled and you have to put your
I've got a request actually, Eddie. When we do our live podcast, spoiler, if I'm looking a bit blank and sweating,
don't worry, I got you. I can bring it.
That's a hard SOS. I need help.
Yeah, I can bring it. I've got it. Anyway, we had a great day on Saturday at the World Heart Runners event. I learned lots. I learned lots about menopause. I learned lots about eating. I learned basically that I'm really good at eating a lot, and that I'm heading headfirst into a pretty rough next few years so prepare yourself, Gary. Anyway, it was a great day. It started, I'll give you a flavour. So the Friday was pretty rough. The Saturday, Garrett, I had to get up at 4 a.m. to get the dogs out. Bryn has been away. This is the third week that Bryn has been away. I didn't let those dogs off the lead because I was like, we do not have time for shenanigans in the woods. Come on, Matt, we love the shenanigans.
Yeah.
We are running around the streets, clip, clop, in my carbon trail shoes. This is hilarious. So I ran around with the dogs. I got everything ready. I had to find a dog walker. This is quite hard. That was quite a hard feat. I then had to find loads of different people to have the kids who I don't really know, because it was an all-day event. And Karen and Deb were so lovely. And they were like, bring the kids. I'm so glad I didn't, because there was quite a lot of chat about moisturizing your vagina and vaginal health. And I think my teenagers would have died. They'd either have died or they would have been hysterical. I like to think because they're Suttons, they'd have been hysterical in the back of the room. So I had to drop them off. They were both the boys were playing rugby, which again heightened my anxiety because I was like, oh Lord, I'm not there. That means something terrible is going to happen. Nothing terrible did happen, apart from they rang me while I was trying to talk to everybody about the importance of strength training. I could see Finley's name flashing up on my watch, and I was thinking, oh my God, what's he ringing to tell me? Anyway, so everybody, you really need to make sure your hand is under your shoulder joint. Oh my God, is he dagger? Yeah, it was a busy day. And then I eventually got home on Saturday at 8:30. I was absolutely
goodness.
And when you're the only parent as well, like if there was someone at home, the poor dogs had been in all day, so I had to walk the dogs. There was no food, there was nothing, and I was cooked. But I met some lovely listeners. I think it's very strange for people to meet me and hear my voice and see my face. Is that good or bad, Gary, when people say it's really weird to meet you because I've listened to you so much? Like, I always think, are you disappointed when you meet me and you see me? Like, are you like, oh God, no wonder you're on a podcast and you're not on television. Yeah, God, Eddie.
It's positive. It's positive, Eddie.
It was a week of highs and lows. It's very emotional as well, because Bryn is away working, going through all that when you can't be together. You just want to touch. You just want to hug. I did, though. I am non-negotiable on getting my sessions done, Gary. We moved in yesterday and I got everything. I moved us yesterday, and I got everything into the house. And the minute I got everything into the house, I turned around and I thought, God, if anyone could see me, they can't because we're in the middle of nowhere. I was like, I've got to go for a run. You guys listening, you'll get this. You get this. But I was like, I need to stamp my footprints around this property and just get my bearings a little bit. And there's no better way to do it than to go for a run. I still got my sessions done. I did 4 by 10 minutes. I did 4 because I'm with the dogs and I've got them. So the quality of that. So I just did the same session again, but I did 3 by 10 minutes, and it was without the dogs, such a better session.
Yeah.
But last week I had to do it with the dog, so can't quite get as fast as I'd like to be, because I've got one absolute outrageous lead puller, and I've got one old lady that can go out strong for like 2 minutes, and then it's like, whoa, 9-minute miles pretty fast, mum. But I did get it done. I got treadmill uphill 30 minutes. That's insane. My favorite, Gary. My favorite, because you start off like, this is easy. I can look around, I can chat, and then by the last 8 minutes, it's disgusting. Both my strengths. Oh, I tell you what, there's nothing like doing a trap bar deadlift in the mirror and checking out your guns. I had 6 by 5 as heavy as I could lift deadlifts, and they were so heavy that every time I put the bar down, I got a head rush.
To throw it down.
Bash it down. And then I do it, I bash it down, then I go, and thank you. No, because I had to go straight into jumps off the deadlift. So I literally put out, oh my God, my head went, ooh. I don't know if it was because I was so tired maybe as well, or it was the heaviest that I could lift. And it was that moment when you put your grip on the bar, and I was like, can I actually get this off the floor, or is it going to be embarrassing? But it's pretty pleased that I wasn't going to get a long run in, so it just meant I had to basically run all week to still hit what I wanted to.
I'm a bit scared about going back to the gym. Been a while.
Yeah. But I say you'll love it when you get back. Just remember the first few sessions to not feel lightheaded as you lift the.
Yes.
So it was a tough week, but I'm really pleased I still got my everything done. And it was, even though putting in a little conference in the middle of so much chaos, it was so nice to be surrounded by what Karen and Debs have created. I know women, it always gives me a bit of a burn your bras, women for women, but it wasn't like that at all. It was just such a nice forum. Everyone was so nice, and it's so nice that our little podcast goes into the ears of so many people. We keep people company. That's the biggest thing. We keep people company. Yeah. And if it inspires them to go out running, hell yeah, we're all for that. We're all for that too. But I love you all when you come up and go hello to me, but I am socially awkward. I'm not socially awkward in a normal situation, but when people are like, oh, I listen to you, I love it. And well, what do you say back?
Are you Patreon?
That is what I should say. I need to be more Gary. Thank you. Oh, you're a Patreon. And then what do I do if they say no? Do I just walk away?
180, walk away. Gotta be brutal.
Yeah, okay. So no engagement at all, literally nothing. Just turn and walk.
They get nothing.
And then if they're a patron, just slip the tongue in, straight in.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it, full on.
Invade their space.
Anyway, I loved it. Thanks, Debs and Karen, for inviting me along. Rini and Kath they're really good at presenting, and everything they say is so wise. My presenting style is a little bit more inappropriate.
You're a good communicator, Eddie. My goodness me, you'd have been sensational.
No, a bit loosey-goosey, but what I did enjoy was seeing so many people, so many women investing in their health. And if we come away from anything, it's that we're all in this together. Oh my God, I haven't tried singing in my new house yet, but while there's no furniture and there's nobody here today, I am going to get those Disney classics on, and I'm going to enjoy this echo like it's never been enjoyed before. So it's fine. We're still moving in the right direction. The niggles I had all summer that I was dealing with and feeling terrible, I really feel I'm coming out of the other side now, and the strength work is paying off. I'm starting to see times on my watch that I used to be able to do that are sort of yeah, Eddie. And now I'm just don't get carried away. Just be careful.
How far out are we from the winter?
10 weeks. Still got ages. So get through this week, and then I can really buckle down for the ride.
Oh, sensational. My goodness me. What a juggle, Eddie. And you've done the non-negotiables. Kudos. Heavy flex. Thank you, Beat Outdoor Sports, for supporting Brew the Coaches. They distribute brands like Ultimate Direction, Knockaround Sunglasses, BV Sports Compression, Catula Spikes, Instinct Running, and Injinji Toe Socks. You You got some in ginger toe socks. I know I love them, but I'm sure they sent you some to test out. How are you
They
finding them?
totes did, only because when we had that call with them and I was like, no, no, no. And they were like, yes, 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 try them. They sent me various different pairs. The ones I like the best are like about 3 inches. They're cushion. I think they're like a cushion trail sock, basically. They're quite thick.
My favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got quite a big, I like quite a lot of ankle.
Yeah.
I'm not a Courtney DeWalter ankle. That's too much for me. I can't carry that off. My calves are too thick. The crew gives me no. I haven't got the legs for that. It basically gives me 2 scaffold poles sticking out from my hips. But this one I like, and they're super comfy. There's a little bit of cushioning in them. I want to see what they're like for like 5-6 hours, and whether they save those, because I get my toenails like rub on the other toe.
Well, yeah, I lose toenails still. Spoiler. Disappoint you, but no blisters.
Yeah, it's a blister. Don't you remember my feet?
Yes.
Yeah,
vivid memory. We need to get back on track. Brew the coaches. This week's question comes from Petra Bistabel. Apologies, Petra. This question came in yonks ago, but it's just the way it is, scheduling, getting everyone together. But Petra has a question about the Ultra Runners Lean. This week's question comes from Petra Bisterveld. I developed the lean for the first time on the Northern Traverse in April. It became problematic at Reeth and I had to DNF just outside of Richmond at the end of the second night as I could barely make forward progress anymore. This was the furthest distance and the longest time I had ever run. I have a fair amount of previous experience with events that take between 20 and 30 hours. At the end of May, I did a solo run from Richmond to Robin Hood's Bay, 70 miles to finish the Northern Traverse from where I had DNF'd. Kudos. Oh my goodness, kudos for that. On this outing, I had no problem whatsoever and was still running at the end. I ran the Summer Spine Challenger, which is 108 miles. I did manage to finish it, but I got the lean again. It started at Gargrave. Thankfully, it only started to seriously slow me down in the last 3 miles or so, but I could not have gone on much further. I have entries for both the Winter Spine Challenger North and the Northern Traverse in 2025, and I'm now worried that this will happen again and that I won't get much beyond the 100-mile mark or the second night. I have read up on the lean extensively, but there's very little evidence-based knowledge out there. I've even asked Debbie Martin-Consani about it, and she said in her case it might have been the uneven distribution of the weight in her pack. It's true that as soon as you stop moving and take your pack off, it is resolved within a couple of hours. Still, I'm happy with the comfort and distribution of my pack. It doesn't swing about and it's not too heavy by spine standards. I know there are suggestions that the lean could be caused by hyponatremia, as seemed to be the case for Damien Hall on his Coast to Coast FKT. I have read Nicky Ligo's paper, but my hydration and fueling were spot on, certainly for the Spine Challenger, and I'm sure my electrolytes were fine too. I do strength and conditioning twice a week and also yoga and Pilates. And I see an osteopath regularly. She thinks my back is adequate, though I am sure I could do even more strength and conditioning. I don't really lift heavy, so that is one thing I could certainly change. I have been wondering if for these multi-day events it might help just to hike from the onset and not run at all. I am not a fast runner anyway, so it wouldn't make a huge difference to my overall pace. Might this help with my back? Do walkers lean? That is fascinating. I've never really thought of it from a walker's point of view. The other thing is rest. Would taking more rest and lying down at checkpoints help? Even though I don't trouble the podiums, I tend to be in determined race mode and don't want to stop for long if the race is continuous. I don't want to turn it into a stage race. That is a different thing. On both of these occasions, I'd gone through 2 nights without sleep, which I can cope with reasonably well, but might it help to postpone the lean if I had more rest? I know the lean is more common in older runners. I'm 61. I can't change that, I'm afraid, and would love to hear your thoughts and advice. Thanks in advance. I have until January to work on this, as all my events for the rest of the year are shorter. Best wishes, Petra Bisterveld. Oh my goodness me, that must be so frustrating. These are the events you want to do, but then it's like wondering and waiting if and when it's going to happen. And I didn't realize it was connected to your ability to keep moving forward. I've seen people I know who've they've almost been unaware they're leaning, but they still are moving forward. And also the age and the walking. So many questions. My goodness me, Rebecca, can you kick us off?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, obviously what we're talking about here is the propensity for a certain small group of people by the end of big ultras to be sort of leant to one side, so from their trunk sort of lists to one side, and they find it impossible to sort of keep upright. But as Gary says, most people sort of are able to carry on. It's not acutely painful. They're not sort of aware that it's going on, except it's an awkward position. So some people are able to sort of finish, and you can certainly see people crossing the line in that condition. You're right about evidence-based, Petra. Obviously, I have looked at it myself in the past and more recently in preparation for this question, and there isn't a lot of anything particularly evidence-based. It tends to be anecdotal, people writing from their own experience and things that have helped them, or as you say, it's been written about due to what happened with Damien Hall. I think in his case, as you mentioned, there was a link with hyponatremia, so there is some discussion about electrolytes and their role in this condition. So sodium is hyponatremia, but also the role of potassium. But if you think you've had that all squared away, then I think the most likely contributing factor here for this condition is probably due to fatigue and sort of that strength and conditioning, particularly glute muscle strength. So looking at the muscles that sort of look at lumbar pelvic control. So rather than just sort of core, back, abdominal muscles, but particularly looking at glute strength appears to be something which people have looked at. You mentioned about not lifting heavy. You've not got that long now until these races in the sort of new year. But if that's something you are interested in incorporating, that's something I would always encourage everyone to do. We know lifting heavy stuff, pushing and pulling heavy stuff is linked to a longer, healthier life. It has different benefits and additive benefits to the aerobic stuff that we do lots of, all that cardio. So for anybody, you're going to derive a benefit, but particularly where people have suffered with this type of condition, I would say heavy lifting, looking at those big lifts which look at glute strength, hopefully will help as well. The only other thing that I found in terms of what can you do as you're going along, somebody did write about their experience with using sort of myofascial release techniques, so trigger point massage type techniques, again in the gluteal tendon regions. Not very comfortable, and I don't know how practical that is to get to lie down and have someone push their elbow or some other object into the glute tendons. Not going to be very comfortable in the middle of an ultra, but if you've got a drop bag, a little sort of spiky ball thing that you can sit on and roll out those areas, that's again something which some people help find as a reset. So if you're going to look at time spent in checkpoints, time lying down, time without your pack on, bit of self-massage to those areas or myofascial release work, again, might just get you back upright for a short period of time or certainly help. But again, I would look at your conditioning and particularly conditioning to carry the pack as well. And yeah, I think those are the biggest things. And yeah, lift heavy, everyone can benefit from that.
You never get to test it out. We talk about this quite a lot, mainly with nausea. You only ever really experience that on race days when you're pushing yourself and you're going that bit longer.
Yeah.
But if this problem's happening after like your second night or during the second night, you can't go into that race knowing that you've kind of addressed the issue. What do you think, Trish?
I completely agree with everything Rebecca said. I think she's nailed it. There's so little in terms of information and study into that specifically. It's impossible to give a kind of, this is the kind of root cause. So yeah, I think everything Rebecca said there is the best way to try and cover it off as much as possible. The other thing I would just say is, in my experience, people who've had a lean generally, after a bit of rest, it has improved. So it might be a question of, if you do get to a checkpoint, you have got a bad lean, if you're going to do the winter spine challenger and Northern Traverse, it might be that after, you've got a bad lean, you get into a checkpoint, and after 2 hours of having a bit of a rest, it improves. Don't feel like you have to DNF just because always, I would say, have a decent break or a bit of a sleep first, and then see how it is after that. Yeah, I've seen quite a few leans, some worse than others. Yeah, just 100% do what Rebecca said, and fingers crossed it will work out.
I wonder if it's worth saying maybe she has got a unique opportunity with the spine challenging Northern Traverse before it gets to a point where you need to take a 2-hour rest, like at a checkpoint, maybe take a 30-minute rest, just take a load off, lie down, whatever it is, and potentially stop the problem from happening as opposed to fight fires when it does happen. But yeah, it's super tough.
Yeah, and it's such a, I mean, like quite a few people I've seen who've had it haven't even realised they've had it.
Yeah.
Because they're so
it's only the photographs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I think strength training and your pack are the two key things there. Just if you can sort those out and make sure that's in the best position possible, that will help you. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, best of luck, Petra. We'll be watching. My goodness me, let us know how you get on.
Send us a picture. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck, Petra. Hope that helped. Yeah, some epic races. Best of luck with that. And if you have a question for our coaches and you are a Patreon, then email hello@tntrails.com and pop the words brew the coaches in the subject.
This week's main interview is sponsored by X Miles, the one-stop kit and nutrition shop. Don't forget, patrons can receive 10% off over at www.xmiles.co.uk. Max King joins us this week. What a treat. I love talking because though we share the same sport, it's so different in all different countries as well. I love the different vibe. I love where he's come from. Such a treat, and a really funny guy as well. Here is our chat with Max.
We started this last week with Shane, actually, Max. We popped your name into a bit of AI software, and this is what it came back with. It's got a good track record, so let's see how it does this time.
This is epic. Are you going to read all of this out? It's going to take half the podcast.
Let's see how it goes. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Max King is a renowned American ultra marathon and trail runner born on February the 24th, 1980. He has an impressive list of achievements, including winning the 2014 100K World Champs and the 2011 World Mountain Running Champs. Max is known for his versatility across various running disciplines, from road races to trail and mountain running. Some of his achievements include bronze medal at the 2016 NACAC cross-country champs, setting multiple FKT records, including the speed record for the 44-mile Olympic National Park Grand Loop in 2020, winning the Mount Marathon twice in 2019, 2022, and setting age group records. I don't know much about that, but I know there's a lot of flesh on shore for that race. Is that correct, Max?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're not bleeding by the end of it, you haven't done something right. But I have yet to take a bad fall during that. But I mean, that's the most amazing race ever. So it's cool. So I highly recommend it.
And Max King is also known for his dedication to strength training and overall athleticism, which has contributed to success across different terrains and distances. I think that's what is known in the industry as a heavy flex, Max.
So that was all AI generated?
That was fantastic.
That
We're not needed.
That wasn't a bad summary, which is, I mean, I was expecting something in there to get screwed up at some point by AI. So
we did it last week and it was so current. Something that only happened 2 weeks ago and AI already knew about it. Yeah, pretty sensational. Anyway, from one dragon to another, welcome to the Tea and Trills podcast. I suspect your dragon is much bigger than my dragon, though, Max.
It was pretty big. I was sitting on the kitchen table right now, but it was actually kind of hard to get home.
How did you get it home?
I just packed it in my bag because all my food went out right over the course of the week, which was great. And that was the heavy part of my pack. And then I packed the dragon back in around all the clothes, and then lugged it back across the ocean. So
did you have to put it on the scales? Did you check it in and have to go?
I did, yeah, but luckily it was pretty heavy. I don't know how heavy that thing is. It feels like it's about 10 kilos, but
I know.
It probably wasn't quite that heavy. No, my bag was fine, so it was good. So I mean, Shane is pretty restrictive on the weights there, so it's at the airline, you get 50 pounds or 23 kilos, but with Shane, you only get 15. So I had plenty of room to spare.
I'm really curious, Max. So as an international competitor, could you buy extra weight? Do you have any kind of leeway with that?
No, but you know what? He should totally do that. No, it's the same as everybody else. What I was trying to do was get away with just packing what I needed for the race, and then not shipping my stuff to Cardiff and having to do that and pay an extra €40 and stuff like that. So I was trying to get everything in my bag. And then I got to the start line on, what was it, like, whatever, Monday morning. And God, I was overweight and I had to repack everything. And I'm like, fine, the only thing that needs to come out of this are my actual bags. And so I sent two, like my backpack and my bag, totally empty all the way to Cardiff. And then I used everything else on the week. So that was the only thing I did not need were the actual bags.
I think the weight limits, being there myself, I know the weight limit causes a lot of anxiety for competitors.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's all that food for the week and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, you've got to like really be careful on what you're bringing along, which I totally understand it. I mean, it makes it fair for everybody because you're not packing the kitchen sink, and they give you the bags to use. And so like really those bags can really only hold about 15 kilos of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And so like it makes it fair, and it's a good idea. Yeah,
I like that. I like the leveler. This is fair for everybody, like you say. Okay, we ask all of our guests, where are you? What's the view from your window? And have you been for a run today?
No, I haven't been for a run yet today. I should have gotten out earlier this morning, but I'm planning on going out for a little bit of a bigger adventure after we talked this morning. And then I'm in Oregon, Bend, Oregon. I'm at my house in my gear room. You can see the treadmill behind me, and all my ski boots are up above.
I was zooming in on your ski boots. Just having a look at the night.
Yeah. So this is the gear room where I keep everything, so it keeps my wife happy. So this doesn't spill into the rest of the house. So,
are you sure? Is that from it?
I try as best I can. Yes, as best I can, and I do a pretty good job. Like, it's pretty not noticeable around the rest of the house because the kids take over like the rest of it, and so their stuff is like spread all over the house, and then I keep my stuff in here. So.
Apart from the big dragon trophy on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Aside from that right now.
Keep saying to the kids, you just need to move that trophy, kids. Just move it along while you do your homework. I want that old thing still there. Move that.
Yeah.
And what's the look at running like for you? Eddie and I were banging on your door. Where are you taking us? What are the local highlights?
We're like in Bend. We've got so many local trails. I could run out my door and go about a quarter mile that way, and we're on the river trail. I'd probably take you up to like Shevlin Park or Green Lakes area, which is up toward the mountains a little bit more. Get some alpine running, some nice creeks, clear running creeks and stuff.
What height are you at there, Max?
1,200 meters. So
okay, so perfect.
Feet. Yeah, pretty. I mean, at an elevation that is, you can kind of feel it, but it doesn't give me any actual benefit. It's kind of that elevation. So.
And do you get snow? Are you under snow in the winter, or do you have to go a bit higher?
No, we get snow, but only for sticking around for about 2 weeks of the year, and then the rest of the time it'll snow a little bit, melt off. So. Gets cold, but we're on that like border of like the melt thaw cycle or the freeze thaw cycle. So to actually ski and get on snow, usually we have to go up a little bit higher, and we can go up. Ski area is about 30 minutes out of town, and it's the base of that is about 6,000 feet. So it's not too far away to get up to skiing, but got to drive a little bit.
Sounds like a dream. Sound like a dream. Curious, a bit of a background story, I suppose. Did you always want to be a pro runner? What was Max King's teenage career goals?
Ooh, that's a long story. No, I mean, I didn't have this in mind. Like when I was running, I was a good like high school and collegiate runner, and then like the college career like was so intense that I basically burnt out, and so I got to the point I got through college, and then I quit running like immediately after college. For a couple of years, about 2 years, I just stopped kind of running altogether. And then I kind of slowly started getting back into it. And that's kind of like, it started with like really recreational adventure running or adventure racing. And then I kind of got into more competitive, like Xterra triathlon, like off-road triathlons. And then like a year after that, I just like was like, oh, I miss like just the running, and got back into the running. And then that was about 2004, 2005. And then I've been basically running ever since, and just trying to keep it fun. It's like at the time I didn't have the ambition of being a pro athlete, but at the same time, like it happened relatively rapidly where I went from like just starting to run again to like making the world team in cross country. And it was like this whole big, like it was all my college career catching up to me at that point, and all of that fitness being there, but then taking like a couple years like break, and boom, I was like back in it like immediately and like running really, really well. It happened really relatively quickly after that. In 2008, I kind of moved part-time to Eugene and was training for the Olympic trials and things like that, and kind of became that professional athlete not too long after that.
I hear that a lot about the collegiate system in America, that it's so intense those times. It's like the complete opposite, I think, to university life in the UK, where a lot of sports people go and discover beer, women or men, whichever way that they go, and they tend maybe go off the rails a bit. But I think it sounds so different in America, and it does sound like a lot of athletes, it's like hit against the wall, isn't it? And they basically sink or swim.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is. I think it's just like the coaches and stuff are driven to success because they're kind of, sometimes their job is a little bit on the line to some extent. But yeah, we get hammered hard. In our college program, we actually have an exchange program with Cambridge and Oxford over there. And so my senior year, we flew over there and had meets in, I think we were in Birmingham, Oxford, Cambridge, and Cardiff. Like, it was really like interesting talking to the UK athletes on how their university system works. And it was completely different from the way that ours works. It was much more low key. It was more based on like almost like a club participation rather than a school participation. It was a lot different than what we go through over here, which is, I mean, part of the reason why there's so many international athletes that come over here is for that kind of Division I athletic career. And it's very intense. And I wouldn't trade it for anything because it got the best out of me. I mean, my coach was intense and like made us work really hard and got a lot out of us, and kind of made me into the athlete that I am today. But at the same time, like, yeah, I was pretty burnt out.
I reckon probably there's better systems in place now as well, with like the improvement of fueling and mental well-being of athletes and stuff like that. They're probably a little bit more maybe on top of the individual athlete rather than following like a set program of this is what we do and so you'll jump on board.
It's possible. Being so far out of it, I don't know. I hear a lot about like the mental side of things now. I'm old enough that we didn't have mental health. It just didn't exist. So we just got hammered into the ground and you're like, you're fine. Just wake up tomorrow and you'll be fine. And so we just got hammered into the ground, which is part of the reason like I'm successful at this point. But like the things that we didn't know, like about rolling and about like recovery and things like that, we had no access to. We just didn't know about it. And had I known, like we could have rolled on these like foam rollers, and like it would have helped with our recovery and stuff. I'm like, it's like, oh, it's amazing.
I don't think we ever like talked about protein, or I don't remember taking water bottles. Like, I don't remember like hydration being a thing. It's just completely different. You just went hard and then, went hard every day, basically. I love it.
Yeah, you go hard and then you go to the dining hall and you eat dinner.
And
it's like that was our recovery.
Late, you'd be late to the dining hall, and so there'd be nothing left, and you'd be like, oh, okay, right, I'm going to have bread.
I think sports nutrition was orange segments. That was probably about as far as it went when I was a child.
Yeah. I mean, like the kids now, like bringing water bottles on runs. I'm like,
know.
what are you doing? What do you need water? What do you need water for on a run? It's only 3 hours. Like, come on.
Okay, then we're 3 weeks out from Dragon's Back race. I was a mess, literally. I don't think I'd done anything that you could remotely call a run. How are you doing? You back to doing workouts?
Well, no, not really workouts. I'm running, but kind of back to that mental health side of things. I'm packing today for an adventure race that I got to go to tomorrow. I got stuff to do. No, there's no time for recovery. No, it's been like 2 weeks now of like full on, like since Dragon's Back. And so I took like a week off of running, kind of started back with some light jogging and bike that whole week, just to kind of get back on the bike for this adventure race and stuff. And then I'm kind of back to running, and like over the last couple of days, running's kind of started to feel back to normal to some extent. I haven't started doing any hard workouts or anything like that, because like it's definitely like taken its toll on me of like doubling my weekly mileage for a week and hammering. And so like I'm still feeling that, but I'm kind of back to running almost normally.
I saw your knees pretty heavily taped at the end.
Yeah.
Was that just the descending has taken its toll a bit on them?
Yeah, like, like over the course of like doing 40 miles a day, up and down, like 10,000 foot gain, like things start to hurt. I mean, as shocking as it may seem. And so there's like all the tendons and ligaments and everything else of like the accumulated stress over the course of the week. Like day 4, like really hurt, and day 5, like was kind of hurt. And so day 6, I'm like, well, we got a lot of running today, and I want to make sure that I can like make it through and not hurt like I did on day 4. So like, let's try just something. And so I just taped my knees, and actually it helped quite a bit. I was kind of surprised. Like by the end of that, I was pretty much held together by tape. Feet were held on by tape, knees were stuck together with tape. I was doing great and just held together with tape by the end of the week. So it was perfect.
I love it.
Is that the first time you'd ever done anything like that? This big 6 days, big miles every day, and ultimately, yeah, massive, like 58,000 feet of vert.
Yeah, I mean, I've done like Trans Rockies, which is a 6-day stage race, but it's like 120 miles over the course of the week, which is, for me, it's like, 120 miles in a week is pretty manageable. Like that's not too far off of what I would normally be at. And so it's like, yeah, you're racing every day, which makes it a little bit harder. But at that point, you can only go so hard, and the time on your feet is pretty consistent with what you'd be at for a normal week. And so this was so far up and above like what I'd ever done. Going into it, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can make it. I don't even know what's going to happen on like days 3, 4, and 5, after I've been running for 40 miles a day. I have no idea going into this. So I'm like, okay, just like got to get through it. Like one of the biggest hurdles to doing that is that mental hurdle of like, knowing that on day 3, you've done 40 miles a day for the past 3 days. I've got 3 more days of doing 40 miles a day. It's like, it feels a little daunting. And then even on the last day, you get to that last day and you're like, oh, shoot, okay, we're almost done. We've got 1 more day left. Oh, shoot. It's 40 miles. I still have to run 40 miles tomorrow.
It's funny how quickly it just becomes the norm, though, isn't it? Because if you had a 40-mile training run, it would be like a big deal in the week. You'd be like, get yourself up for it. I want to go into that well rested, really think about that. And then it quickly becomes like, right, okay, yep, another 40 miles. Here we go. Let's get up.
Yeah, but I mean, sort of, but I don't do 40-mile long runs on a normal basis. So.
Me neither, but I was just pretending to be like you, Max, and just see if you went, oh, yeah, Eddie, yeah, 40 miles.
Yeah, Eddie, I'm impressed with your long runs, but I don't do that. So that's a little out of the ordinary normally. So the fact that I had to start with 1 40-mile run was like, whoa, this is a big run. Oh, shoot, I've got to do 6 of them.
Run is a big word to throw at what you're doing, especially on the first couple of days. Did you have a clue of what that terrain was going to be like?
I mean, yeah, just off of like the photos and stuff like that.
I guess you saw some videos of like mist and people crying on Crib Gawk and Shane laughing, and you were like...
I actually went and I watched the 2021 video with Simon and Russell. And that was really interesting because that told me who Simon was. And then I realized Simon was in the race. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be alone out there. I've got Simon to contend with. And so, because going in, like, I didn't know anybody from the UK. I didn't know like names and stuff who was going to be good at like something specific like the Dragon's Back. I didn't really recognize any names out there. Going into it, I'm like, well, I don't know if there's going to be competition or not. And then after watching that a few weeks before the race, I realized like, oh, Simon's in it. So this is going to be tough. Like he is going to be going for the win, and it's going to be competitive. And then there's all these Scarpa guys who I kind of know, but not really. I just know that they're sponsored athletes. So I gotta assume they're going to be up there and they're going to be good. And then looking at the terrain from those videos and stuff, I'm like, is every day like Crib Gawk? I don't know. Is it all like that? Like, it sure seems like it because of the times that we're running.
These races, the media, probably the same in the US. They love to portray. You're only going to see the danger, the ridges. You're not going to see the cool forest tracks. You're not going to see the road for ages. So did you train differently? Was this just part of your program this year, this race, or was this something that you were like, I'm going to target this is going to be an A race?
No, it was definitely an A race. And I've been specifically training for it. Since I signed up for it back in the winter, I've been looking forward to this race all year long. Like it was on my radar And I'm like, I am so excited to do this race. And so I just couldn't wait for it to come up. Like summer tends to be pretty busy for me with running camps and stuff, and where like during a running camp, I'm not getting a ton of running in. And so I'm kind of trying to fit stuff in throughout the summer.
Tell us about the running camps. Sign us up. Tell us about the running camps.
I mean, I love doing them. They're super fun. So I have my own running camps. They're trail running camps. It's the Max King Trail Running Camp. They're youth camps for the most part. So I do a high school camp in June.
You're out, Gary. I could still sneak in. You're out.
Yeah. I mean, it's close. You're on the border. But I do a middle school one in August and a high school one in November, in June. And then I work at another one that I've worked at for the past about 18 years called Steens Mountain Running Camp way out in southeastern Oregon. I've got about 4 or 5 camps during the summer. And this year I did a Run the Alps trip in conjunction with my running camps for adults. So you guys are totally in for that next year. And so I did that. So I had I had 5 or 6 weeks of camp this year throughout the summer. And during those, it's like, I'm doing some decent mileage, but it's not super hard and stuff. And so I'm trying to fit my training in between there and just be as consistent as I can throughout the summer. And then in August leading into it, I kind of had a free month. We were on vacation up in Washington, up in the North Cascades, big mountains, and surprisingly very similar terrain to what I was on over there because of the vert that I was running, but also the grassy off trail stuff going up and down hills and mountains and stuff like that with some technical scrambling in it. And I had a big week up there of 115 miles for the week and put in back-to-back 30 milers, which was great. So I kind of changed my training up to just hit some really big 30-mile runs, kind of leading into this, kind of going okay, if I can be consistent on a couple of 30-milers, I can really get my legs underneath me. And I was going for anywhere from 6 to 9 hours on those. So I was out there kind of for about the same amount of time period and stuff like that. Kind of changed things up going into this, kind of cramming a little bit since it was August already. But I'm okay.
You've done enough running in your life. You just need a quick crib sheet. Okay, legs, this is what you're going to do. Do you have a coach, Max, or do you write your own plan?
I write my own plans. At this point in my life, I'm a little uncoachable. And I'm going from doing that to steeplechase in the springtime to trail races to an ultra to adventure racing. And so any coach that I have is going to throw up their hands and be I don't know what you're doing. I'm sorry.
Well, they just probably couldn't bring value to your plan because there's just so much that you're in a constant state of prep, recover, change, but and also your body so well by now, you would probably wake up and go, yep, today's the day, or today's not the day, or I'm going to go on my bike, or it's snowing, I'm going to ski.
Totally. For the most part, it's when I do a workout, it's when my body's ready for it. And I can't really force it as much as I used to be able to.
I hear you.
I need at least 2 days in between workouts. I know that now. If I try to force it and do an every other day plan, it's nope, that one, that sucks. I can't do it. So I need 2 days and I know that. And sometimes I need a third. Sometimes I just want to go in the mountains and run with friends, or I do a hard ski workout. It's I'm so up in the air with all of my training that I can't have a coach. I just got to do it on my own program.
You talked a bit about your steeplechase. Do you still dabble? Gary's always trying to find his speed. It's the elusive speed. I've given up. I don't even try anymore. But do you still hit back? You still go back? You go back there and go, I've still got it. Yeah. Still got that leg speed. Yeah.
And it's fun to do. I'm always training, to have some speed in my training. Whether I'm training for an ultra, an adventure race, whatever, I'm still doing a lot of threshold work. I get on the track every once in a while. So I can kind of keep that efficiency and that speed. And then this spring, I went back to the steeplechase to try to get the U.S. record, master's record in the steeplechase. And so I got on the track. I think I did 2 steeples this spring. I needed one more to get under 9. I didn't quite get there.
I was going to ask what it was.
I was really close. I was 9:02. And so
I'm impressed you can still get over the barriers, to be honest. I think I'd have to put
That's where I'd surrender. Why the steeple though, Max? What is it about the steeple for you?
That's my event, man. We're back. That's my event from college. That was what I did. And when I was in pro, when I was a pro and doing track, that was what I did. The steeple is my best event on the track. Aside from cross country was probably arguably my best event, but then, steeplechase is cross country on the track. It's as close as you can get.
It looks super tough.
Yeah,
it looks
so much
horrendous.
fun though.
Oh,
it's
really?
so awesome.
Which bit's
Oh, yeah.
fun?
The whole thing. Like I get to jump over big like wooden barriers that you do not want to hit. You get to like mix up your stride, and then you get to jump over into water. I mean,
Yeah, I
what's
think
not
the
to
water
love?
looks fun. That looks fun. It's that last barrier on the last lap as the athletes are coming down and they're absolutely hanging, and then the last barrier appears on the camera, and you go, "Oh my god, they gotta go."
That's where all the wrecks are. Is that one right there?
Oh, it looks amazing. Let's jump back to Dragon's Back. On paper, it looked like you sort of built. You played with Simon a little bit and said, "Hi, I'm actually had some chat with him," and then you left him. But how did it play out? Because of course the tracker is never truthful as to what's going on. But I actually had some intel knowledge of you. One of the athletes I coached. Some days you overtook him 3 times because.
Yeah.
Your navigation, obviously, like a lot of locals and people that live near had recce'd the route. And so you and Gary are probably the only people I know, or maybe my husband as well, that have turned up and not stepped foot on the course before.
I recce'd the first 2 miles, so I knew those really, really well.
You didn't tell us that. Oh,
yeah, I did. Yeah, I recce'd those first 2 miles. And
to
so
the gate, stripped up to the gate, and then
basically.
That's all you need to do.
Okay, I'm good. I know the course. I know exactly what to expect out there.
I think it was pretty much Crib Gok. It was pretty easy. I don't know. Tell us how it panned out. How did that competition pan out?
Yeah, so locals have some advantage with the shortcuts. There are real shortcuts out there. So I got like the first day, weather moved in. It has been dry. I don't know for how many weeks before that. Super like clear skies and everything else. Weather moves in and it's like fog for the entire first half of the first day. I got away from Simon on the big climb on the first ridge. I can't remember what that one's called, but going up to the first ridge where you get kind of scrambly up top, get up away from Simon. I'm like, sweet, I got away from him on the climb. Get up to the top. I'm like looking at my watch. I'm like, where does this GPX track go? I'm like, I think I have to go to the top, but I can't see anything. So I'm just following the GPX track, get right on the track, zoom into it, and I pop up to the top. I'm like, okay, I got to go down the other side. I go down the other side about like 20 meters, and then there's a little trail. I'm like, okay, this must be right. There's a trail. I go about 10 feet that way, and I'm like, okay, it's telling me go back up this gully. So I go back up this gully, and sure enough, like I get to the top of that gully, and I'm like scrambling, like with my hands and everything. Simon pops his head over and goes, "What are you doing down there?"
Excellent.
I'm like, God.
I'd have just kicked the rocks down. Oh, you're right there. Oh, lucky Max. Just keep going down.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing down here. Obviously,
Max,
that was the wrong way to
Max,
go.
what watch were you using? Sounds like
It was just it's a Sunto, but it's just the GPX track that they give us, that Simon gives us, or not Simon, but
yeah, it's probably Simon.
probably from Simon. Yeah, but Shane gives us, and it's just, it's like you get really like in the weeds up there on top of those scrambles, and it gets a little wonky. And really, you just kind of like, if it were clear, you just see the
line,
50 meters away, and you just go up there, right? And you just know exactly where to go. But because it's so foggy, I could see like 20 feet. I couldn't see the people up on top. So then we travel again for a little bit, and the same thing happens on the next ridge line. Like I get away from Simon by just a little bit going uphill, and then like sure enough, like I take a wrong turn again, and then he gets right back in front of me. But like as soon as it got clear over on Crib Gok, when we were going around that and Snowdon, I'm like, it's clear. I can see where I need to go. There's a person standing up there, and there's a checkpoint up there. It's like, okay, I can go. And that's how I got away from Simon on that first day. I just kind of like went uphill and traveled around that bowl around Snowdon a little bit quicker, got a little bit of time on him. And it seemed like over the course of the next couple of days, like that was what I would do, is like I wouldn't be able to get away from him until he got to like toward the second half of the day, and he would slow down a little bit, and I could kind of get away from him on some of the bigger climbs. And so I got 8 minutes or 10 minutes on the first day, like 8 minutes on the second day. And then the third day was like pretty runnable, right? Like you kind of drop down and you get a little bit more runnable. And we had a really long climb up that was all this real runnable road that I knew like from the first 2 days, like he was going to struggle kind of running the whole thing. it was at that kind of grade where
The
grind. Yeah. Like where it's
Love
hard
the
to run, but
grind.
you can do it. But if you can run, like you can really make up a lot of time. And so that's like, I ran into Gabe because he started a couple minutes ahead of us that day. And Gabe was having a fantastic day that day.
He had a
Like,
great day that day. Yeah.
He was struggling the first 2 days. And then that day he was like on fire. And so we ran together that whole climb up. And at that point, I mean, we must have put like 20 minutes on.
I think you put
Simon,
half an hour. Yeah.
Well, over the course of the day, I got a half an
Yeah.
hour on him. But just on that climb, we probably put 20 minutes on him or so. And then, you know, throughout the rest of the day, like a lot of real runnable roads, like, and stuff like that. So kind of added up. And then I got that 30-minute chunk of time. And at that point, I felt like, yeah, I had a pretty good cushion. Like I was comfortable after 3 days of like kind of sticking with him and knowing like, you know, he was kind of not struggling, but slowing a little bit over that last half of the day. I felt pretty good going into the next 3 days as long as I didn't fall apart. But then like I had this terrible day on day 4. Like, I don't know what happened. I mean, I kind of know what happened. I didn't recover well enough after day 3, but man, day 4 was a struggle.
Was that the start of the K-Tate?
No, that was just
Did you
day 6.
start to- Oh.
But it was like, it was the day that hurt the most. Like my joints hurt and everything, my tendons, ligaments, joints, they all hurt that day. And so, and we had a long kind of runnable downhill road that day too. And I just like was running with Dave a lot, ran with Simon a lot that day, but it was like a struggle. I just didn't feel very good. And so like, I really like, that was the day 4, like, came into camp. I focused on recovery. Like I did my like a good recovery routine. And then there was a pub that day right across the river in camp. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm getting a Guinness. I'm going over there. I'm like, Guinness. And I got a burger and a Guinness and all was right in the world. Like I felt like finally I was in Wales and like.
Did you go back to Shane and say, look, Shane, you're missing a trick here. If you just had some Guinness and a burger.
Guinness would be like money.
Guinness would be
actually.
good.
Can you imagine alcohol?
That would be such a bad idea.
Would be zip, even more.
What's the conversation though between you, Simon, and Gabe? Are you chatty? Is it silent? Also, yes, Simon or any other competitors, are they during the night, maybe in the camp, are they sharing any deets? These are the lines to take. Is it super competitive?
It was weird to kind of figure that out. I mean, it was a little competitive, you could tell. Like, I mean, Simon, he's a quiet guy anyway. You guys probably know Simon pretty well. He's on the quiet side anyway. Because it was Simon and me, like, really kind of going head to head after the first day. There were some head games there of like who was going to start first in the morning. Were we going to start together? Simon's kind of stalling to get me to go first, like that kind of like games, right? The other guys in the race, the other guys were like at this point far enough back that I don't think we were competing together. I don't know. In their minds, I don't think we were competing together. In my mind, we weren't. But they were a little bit freer with the information. Like Matt, I was talking to, he's like, oh yeah, there's some shortcuts here and there. Like, but it's like not knowing the terrain. I'm like, you can tell me where a shortcut's going to be.
Yeah, you can tell me about that gate, the grass, the rock.
Yeah, I'm still not going to find it, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to stick to the track. Unless I'm with Simon, I got to stick to the track. It's like, I'm not going to see the shortcuts. I knew if I just stuck to the track, it'd probably be okay. But the other guys, like Gabe, I was super chatty with because he's American. We're like, I've got a pretty good lead on him. We weren't really going head to head at that point, but we were really kind of helping each other out as Americans running the race. So we were like, like on day 3 and stuff, we were running together.
Strange country. Did you enjoy the going past everybody every day? Was that good? Did you enjoy that? Or was it a bit like the 800th time someone's gone, what am I accidentally great?
No, that was like, it was super fun. And then like, I was talking to Shane about this of like how they structure the race and how they put it together, I think is really, really well done. Like, the days really flow together very well. The course works very well as far as like the amount of variety and where it's placed when you're hurting is very, very good. The fact that you pass everybody every day is really cool. I like that aspect of it because otherwise, like, I'd be out there for 8 hours and not see anybody at all, right? I mean, it'd be pretty lonely. And so the fact that you're passing everybody, you kind of get to know people that way. And so that you can go and then talk to them in camp later at night.
Did people come and talk to you, or were you a bit like...
No, people came and talked to me for sure. And like you're having dinner and stuff in the tent and everybody's kind of in there. And I love that aspect about these stage races, like where you get to know everybody each day. And you like, so I would like specifically go and sit at a different table just to talk to some different people each night or in the morning, so that, just to get to know different people and stuff. And I'm kind of like, the Americans there are kind of away from home. And so I'm kind of seeking out the Americans a little bit too, just to get to know them and stuff. And I actually met a couple from, where were they from? Virginia, that on the train ride in from Manchester to Conway, they were riding the train and I was riding the train same time. And we finally kind of got to start talking, like, I don't know, about 5 minutes before we got off in Conway, but I met him and then I saw him at the race and it's like, oh, we chit chat and get to know each other and stuff a little bit more. So I like that aspect. I like passing everybody and seeing people. And like a lot of times during a race, it gets kind of old, especially if you're doing like an out and back of like, hey, good job, good job, good job.
Yeah.
But over the course of 8 hours, when you're passing like 300 people, it's not a big deal. And so you're never getting slowed up by, running into the back of somebody. You're not like, it's spread far enough apart where you're like, it's always kind of interesting to see people and stuff.
Did you find you overtook the same people at the same time of day as well? That you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're 4 hours in. There's my 4 hour. That's what I've always found. Oh, you're my 4 hour girl.
Yeah,
that was a marker
girls.
for me.
Yeah.
I think if I'd see somebody who was on the full dragon and I saw them after say 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it was like, okay, that's how we're doing today. And I felt completely energized from all the hatchlings. Literally, and we're fortunate, Eddie and I, we know a lot of the people. This is our kind of community being in the UK.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely love it. I fed off every one of them. I found the hatchling. Initially, I thought, I'm not too sure how this hatchling is going to go, but in reality, being on the ground, I just thought it was fantastic. It was perfect.
Yeah. That hatchling is such a good thing though, because you realize like when you're in there doing it, like how hard of a race this is for like me. But then you take like the normal athlete and you're like, God, this is impossible. Like, I can't imagine like doing this off of like a normal training schedule of like a good runner's doing 50 to 60 miles a week. And it's like, I cannot imagine doing 240 miles in a week off of 50 miles in a week. It's like, it's such a huge jump, a huge leap in the amount that you need to do is like, it would feel daunting and impossible. And so the fact that you can then get through the first day and then break it down into 20-mile segments after that and do half the course is such a huge win. And it keeps everybody in camp. And we get to talk to more people too, because otherwise they're going to.
They got more energy as well, haven't they? There's less death. There's less death in the camp, and there's more people. Tell us about your tent. Did you know your tent mates before? Because it's a big part. There was those blue tents haunt your dreams for a few weeks.
They may. No, I didn't know any of them because I don't know, something happened. I was trying to share a tent with Gabe. Actually, we talked before, and we were supposed to be in a tent, and then something happened, and we got separated. So I didn't know any of my tent mates. Got to know them over the course of the week, but oddly enough, like 3 or 4 of them were doing the full dragon the whole week. So they were like out at 6 a.m. So up at 4:30 and out at 6. And then they'd roll into camp like later, around 8 o'clock or so. There was 2 of them that were doing the hatchling. And so I kind of got to see them more throughout the day and stuff like that. But it was cool. We had a pretty good tent going. So they were full course and everything.
And what was camp life? I didn't mind washing in a stream for a week. Pretty standard for me. You fine with that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm used to camps and stuff where that's all we're doing for like 2 weeks. But the challenge is it's like here on the West Coast, it's like sunny and hot during the day. Washing in a creek isn't that bad. Okay, it's 50 degrees or 55 and like cloudy over there. And you're like, I don't want to get in the creek. It's way too cold to get in the creek.
I didn't go in. I wasn't washing.
No,
I was like, it's way too cold, Freddie.
Yeah, I would wash my legs off, but it was so hard to get in the creek.
Well, we were super fortunate when I did it. We had a heat wave. Literally, it was 6 days of, I think it was 30 degrees plus every day. What you like as a racer, though, I've seen a couple of Instagram videos, I think. So I think I know the answer to this question. But yeah, you were chatting with marshals. Just curious, are you doing that? Are you going in the shops? I didn't go in one shop and I really regretted that as I finished the race. I didn't really embrace that side of the event.
Well, I really wanted to go in that shop, in that little bakery. I think it was on day 5 or 6. You pass a bakery and all the hatchlings were standing outside with coffee and like a pastry.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys,
That's how you do it.
and it's right on the course. And I'm like, you guys, that is the meanest thing ever. Like, that is so cruel. This is early on. It's like halfway through like the hatchling, like first half of the hatchling course or something. So it's like, you know, I don't know, 10 miles in. And so you're still kind of like, it's too early for a break. You're just flying through town and they're all standing out there with coffee and their pastry. I'm like, God, that's so mean.
Oh,
it's
so flaky, this pastry.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, you want? No. So
you see people coming out of the corp and they've literally got carrier bags. I'm thinking, well, how are you going to carry that for the rest of the journey? Insane.
So that was like, I didn't stop at any of those. But like, I don't know. I love the midway point and the water stop because like you could chat to the marshals and stuff like that and have a little conversation while you're kind of like doing your bag stuff and everything. And that was kind of fun. And it's like, I'm there to enjoy it. I'm there for like, to really kind of enjoy this experience. And so, yeah, I'm going to take a few seconds to like do that kind of stuff and to take photos out on the course. And some
I loved your
Instagram stories. I thought they were brilliant. They were
it's worth it. I mean, you know, it doesn't take very long and it's like, you know, I can remember it that way and stuff. Just making sure that I was having fun doing that stuff and it wasn't all competition. On day 5, I realized like I was short on calories. Like I was like 5 days in, I'm like, oh crap, I'm burning through more calories than I have been. And I'm bonking and I'm coming down and it's just the water stop coming down into the big mountain on day 5.
Penny Fan.
Penny Fan. Thank you.
Is it before Penny? Yeah.
It was right before that. Come down and there's a restaurant there. You can get a burger, but I guess there's no store. And I didn't know that. And I'm coming down, I'm bonking, I'm out of calories and it's just the water stop. I'm like, oh shoot, I need some calories. I'm hoping there's a store there. And I asked somebody along the way, it's like, oh, I'm going to stop at the store. And they're like, oh, there's no store, just a restaurant. I'm like, oh no, this isn't good.
Oh no, I can imagine.
I get down to the car park and there's a guy that's like just parked right by this road and he's got a little table set up and he's got candy bars and soda. And I'm like, thank you. Like, oh my gosh, you're going to save my race. I bought 3 Snickers bars and a Dr. Pepper and it was way too expensive.
Oh my God.
But it made my day and like kept my race going. And so it was so awesome and it totally saved me because otherwise I was totally screwed on that day if I hadn't found
They must do a roaring trade.
I don't know. He was in the right spot, the right time. It was perfect. And so that was awesome. So I stopped there, bought some stuff. And it was legal because it was available for everybody. So it was perfect.
Not after you'd been. Everyone went through and went, have you got any Snickers? I just really want a Snickers. I'm like, no, this guy came through. He bought the box. What was the rest of your nutrition like? Are you a sports nutrition guy or are you more like a cheese and pickle sandwich guy?
Ooh,
what are we looking at?
No, God, that sounds terrible. No, I was like a lower intensity thing, like adventure racing. I'm doing more like snacks I get from the store. But for this, like still pretty high intensity. So I'm doing mostly just like drink mixes. And so I had 2 bottles, one of like a really high calorie, like 1,000 calories in my bottle for like sipping on it for 4 hours. And then the other bottle was a drink mix of about 250 calories. And I know you guys do grams per hour, but I'm calories per hour.
No, it's about you must be about 100 grams then an hour.
Yeah, I'm trying to do like 75 to 100 grams per hour. And so that was like those 2 bottles would last me 4 hours. I'd switch them out at the support point and then do the next 4 hours with the same 2 bottles basically. And that worked really well. So mostly drink mixes with high calorie, not a lot of water, but it was cooler and I didn't really need to drink that much. Once in a while I'd fill up at a stream because I had a filter bottle with me, but that was about it.
I enjoyed a can of Coca-Cola in my support bag. Did you take a treat for the support points?
I didn't for the support points. Like I'd carry some waffles, like some Stroop waffles with me that Goo makes. Goo makes Stroop waffles. They're amazing. And I just use those for like some extra calories as I kind of get hungry around like that lunchtime period, just to kind of keep my stomach going. And so I do a couple of those throughout the day, but that was about it. Just keep it going. So the support point was super easy. I just grab my 2 bottles, shove them in, and then go.
No nausea?
No, none at all. No, that was good.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, stomach was good.
Oh my goodness me.
Sorry guys. Sorry.
I
know you want like this epic story of like, oh
no, we both really
That's
suffer.
our story.
That's our story. We both really suffer with our nutrition.
Is it more in the heat?
It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to come back up.
I think it's the cheese and pickle sandwiches, honestly. That does not sound good. That doesn't sound like a good
Max,
plan.
it was all going so well. I thought, Max and I, we've got a future together. I can see this beautiful adventure racing partnership. And then I mentioned my cheese and pickle sandwiches and your face just went like, I said,
Yeah.
You went,
no. So then adventure racing's out for you?
I don't know. I just need to do it. I need a few more background checks, to be honest.
Okay. What about Snickers?
Oh, yeah, the Snickers.
Snickers okay?
Sensational.
I wouldn't go with your Dr. Pepper, to be honest. I'm more of like a Fanta girl, but then, that's...
Dr. Pepper, Eddie, it's sensational.
It was like... There was Fanta there was Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, and I was just like, it's a Dr. Pepper moment. I don't know what it is, but right now it's Dr. Pepper, so I don't know.
There's a clear calling. I have the same with the Fanta and the Coke. There's like, you could go either, but you can't tell what it's going to be until you get there, and then, oh my God, it tastes better than... Yeah. I would swap one of my children for that Fanta at some points in mountain races. Seriously. Right, let's get you to the finish, Max. How did it feel to run into Cardiff, a place you've never been, a place you'll probably never go again? But my goodness, what a journey you had.
Cardiff was the one place that I had been to, actually.
Stop it!
Yeah, back in college, like that was where we went, was Cardiff. And so I was like looking around and we were running into Cardiff through the forest. I'm like, you know what? This looks familiar. Like I remember the forest like outside Cardiff, like where we went for a run. And it's kind of like the open forest land with the tall trees and stuff like that. And I'm like, this looks familiar. Like I get it. And so, yeah, I've been to Cardiff before, but that was the only thing I'd ever seen. Super amazing. Like the last day, like went really well. I have to say, like the taped knees held up. That helped. But I don't know what it was, but the running, what I was afraid of that day was like how much running there was. Like the day before on day 5.
You were like the best runner in the world and you were frightened.
Well, here's why. Because like the day before we have like you're running over the fans, right? And the first half of the day is super runnable. And then the second half is like a lot of hiking and then you run downhill and hike up. I was so tired of running midway through that day. I was like so happy to get to the hiking part. I'm like, oh God, I got to do 40 miles of just running tomorrow. I don't know if this is going to go well.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get to halfway and be like, oh my gosh, my race is over. I got to walk it in.
Yeah.
But like, for whatever reason, like day 6 felt really, really good. I was trying to do all the recovery stuff that I screwed up on day 4. And so days felt really good. And I ran all the way into Cardiff and it felt really, really smooth. And it just felt really good. So I was able to run strong all the way to the finish line, which felt great. My fastest mile that day was my very last mile into the castle.
What was it?
7:30, I think.
Oh, I'll take that. I take that on a normal day.
I'll take that.
I take that as a 1 mile rest.
I'll tell you what though. It felt like a 5-minute mile.
Yeah.
I'm going to check what my last mile was. I'm pretty sure it didn't start with a 7. Oh my goodness me. But what a route though. You go castle to castle, point to point, over every type of terrain that the UK could throw at you. It's just absolutely sensational.
Yeah, it really was. And that was like day 5 was one of those examples of where Shane has like this and the whole team. I mean, not just Shane, but they've made this course into something that is really, really fun and interesting to run. Like that day, like I said, like the first half, super runnable, lots of gravel roads. And then you get to the fans and you're just like, hike. When you're done running for that day, you're like, okay, now it's time to hike. And I get to go up over these mountains and see some really beautiful terrain up here. And luckily, like the first 2 fans that we went over were like socked in with the clag and it was bad. Couldn't see anything. And then we got up on Penny Fan and it cleared, it lifted, and we could see everything. And that whole ridge line that you kind of run right after that was fantastic. So that was really, really neat.
Did you see any soldiers out there? Swear the British Army train. No soldiers. Well, you wouldn't see them anyway. Camouflage.
Exactly. That's probably why I didn't see them. Yeah, I probably stepped on one.
Any other UK challenges, FKTs, maybe a Bob Graham round or Cape Wrath Ultra? You got your eyes on any of that?
Man, since the race, I've been looking at everything. And so I listened to one of your podcasts with Fran, I think it was. And I'm like, oh, OMM is on my list now. All of those, like I got to come back over for Cape Wrath. That's definitely on my list. I've always wanted to do one of the rounds, like Bob Graham or Ramsey or, Patty. And then OMM is on the list because I love doing the navigation side of things. Like I'm always interested in like the adventure racing's fun, but I like it when I'm on my feet. And so like if I can do it,
you feel safe.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. So if I can do an adventure race where you have the navigation but on foot, I'm all in. And so OMM looks really, really fun. Then Fran mentioned the Lake District Mountain Trial. I really want to do that.
Yeah.
Because like this is one thing that about you guys over there that I absolutely love is the fell running community and that vibe that you guys have. I read Feet in the Clouds a long time ago, and then I've done Coaldale Horseshoe Race and stuff like that. And that is my overall favorite like community in the world, like running community in the world, because it's so low key yet so competitive. Like it fits me really, really well. And I want to come over there and do like a whole fell running season. I know I'm probably never going to be able to do that, but there's fell races on my list, OMM rounds, like Cape Wrath is on the list. And then somebody mentioned I can get into the spine race now. I'm like, that's a little long.
Oh, you're not tough enough for the spine race, Max. You're not tough enough for that. No, I'd have to give you a bit of help with that. You need to eat cheese and pickle sandwiches for that. Definitely.
Really? I have
Your bottles will freeze. You can't drink.
It's on the kit list.
But I could do the summer one. Or is that like the little like redheaded stepchild of like
you wouldn't get on the
spine
podcast
race?
if you did the summer
No?
one. Would be,
Okay.
No,
Right. Just the winter one?
They're both awesome. There's obviously more jeopardy in the winter one because you've got, but I think the summer this year, they had terrible weather, didn't they? I think it was worse because the winter this year, it was like frozen ground. So it was pretty, but then this summer it rained. So you're going to get used to it.
I think that's sensational. We spoke to quite a few repeat offenders, Max, who keep going back, and it's different. You think, okay, it's going to be the same. But no, the spine race, I think every year it's completely, even like say Northern Traverse, what Eddie did recently, you think you know what you're up for, but no, it's completely different.
Different how? Like the course isn't different. It's just like conditions are different.
The course is the same, but the weather really does completely change. Yeah, completely change what's in store. But yeah, I agree with you. The fell running, I just love it. You can be fierce competitors. Literally want to rip somebody's head off. And then when it's all done and dusted,
piece of cake.
You're having a
cheese
beer
and pickle
with
sandwich.
them. Yeah, you're having a beer and cakes with them at the pub. It's like it's awesome.
Should we do the quick five?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm nervous for this.
You should be. You should be these. Prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Groundhog Day, and you can only do one type of racing discipline forever and ever. Are you going to toe the line at a cross-country race? Track, you can do steeplechase, I'll allow you to do that. A road race, marathon, or a trail ultra. What gives you the most joy, Max?
That's easy. Cross country, favorite discipline.
You American cross country or British?
No, British. Yeah, sorry, I should qualify that. Like I mean, sorry.
I saw the American cross country with they made hills. They made hills and
so soft. We had club cross country championships, one of our big races here in Bend. I made the course, and everybody still complains about that course. And I had hay bales on it, and they made me take those off. But everybody still complains about that course because it was too hilly and too hard. So I can make a proper cross country course. But yes, British cross country, like a proper cross country course,
like a proper
with mud, things to jump over, like where
you have to tape your spikes on because otherwise you lose it. That sort of
Max. If you're ever in the northeast from kind of October to February. Always welcome to have a Sedgefield Harriers vest on.
He'd definitely be a counter, Gary. He'd definitely be a counter.
If you're gonna, I don't want to flex on the rest of the country though, but I'm pretty sure the northeast has the best and the healthiest cross country. Look at your face. Northeast of England,
of England, okay.
Yeah, we are treated to some biblical weather. Yeah,
not northwest. Are those guys?
No. Well, see, the fell. They do cross country. Oh, I'm going to get loads of people giving me flack, but it's not the same as the Northeast. I think they'll all agree maybe they're a little bit more faithful to the fells. And you know what? If I had the fells on my doorstep, I probably would too. But yeah, the cross-country scene in the Northeast of England is very, very healthy. Oh, Eddie, have you got your watch? Have you got your phone ready? Sorry. Do you remember what the last purchase you made from Amazon, Max?
I think it was Leukotape. think it was Leukotape.
What is that?
It was holding Leukotape. Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. So KT tape, stretchy,
Yeah.
right? Leukotape is strapping tape. Doesn't stretch at all. Like this is literally like what was holding me together and holding my feet on my body for the entire dragon's back.
This is what I need because I
Yeah.
find KT tape, but just my muscles are too strong. It just like doesn't do anything.
It's worthless. It helped on my knees because it stretches and your knees move. But KT tape or Leukotape is strapping tape. So I
Leukotape,
tape my ankles
okay.
with it so that the Leukotape is at this point replace the tendons in my ankles so that I can run over that kind of terrain and not die. Or at least lose my feet.
Is that what David Roach uses? Because I think he straps his ankles onto his feet onto his body as well when he runs.
I don't know. Sure.
Okay, it's gonna sell out. Let's get it quick before the podcast goes out.
Yeah.
Okay, we can turn back time. Do you remember what posters were on your bedroom wall as a teenager?
Ooh. Oh, I did have a Prefontaine poster. That one I can remember. I had Prefontaine poster. Man, I can't, because I know it was like, running related, obviously. I had a state cross country poster up there from when I ran state cross country meet. I don't remember what else I would have had up there.
No, I'm getting a sense of teenage Max now then.
Yeah, no, I was not into the typical what
I think
I don't know. I don't even know what you would typically have
Pamela
up there.
Anderson, Baywatch.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that stuff up there at the time. No.
I'd love to have been around when Prefontaine was running, but as a Brit, I only heard about him after he'd passed, obviously. But yeah, fierce. My goodness me, fierce competitor.
Yeah.
Do you remember, actually, do you have your favourite UK snack or meal? Do you remember anything in particular?
Yeah, digestives. Like the first thing I went to over there was a store to buy the digestives, like the chocolate ones, though. The chocolate ones.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm not fussy. Whatever.
And
Put whatever on it.
I chowed down on a whole pack of those before the race even started. So got rid of those.
Are you a dunker? Would you dunk them in your cup of tea?
Yeah, I would if not my tea, though. See, that's where that's where I'm
it's gone.
Eddie?
We didn't even ask. Why have we even recorded this, Gary? It's never even going to go out. You don't drink tea, do you, Max?
I don't. No, actually, I shouldn't say that. I do drink tea, but I do drink coffee as well. I actually drink a lot of tea in the wintertime here.
Do you really? Are you just saying this because you can say when a
No, but not for breakfast. Okay. For breakfast, it's coffee. And then later in the day, it's tea. Like that's my later in the day stuff.
When you say tea, what are you talking? You're going to tell me green tea or something?
No, usually it's like a variety of black tea or an herbal tea. Yeah. Like in the evening, I don't want to do black tea, right? So I'll do like herbal tea in the evening.
Okay,
like peppermint is a big one. Yeah,
I can hear that. Do you put milk in it? Not in your herbal tea, but in your just black tea? Oof.
No, not usually. I've been drinking a lot of chai tea lately, and I do milk in that, but that's about it. And I do whipped cream in my coffee because that's the only way to do coffee.
Oh my God, that sounds dreadful.
It's the only way to go. I mean, instead of sugar, right? It's like I don't want to put a bunch of sugar in my coffee anymore.
If I told my husband that was an option, he would be down the co-op
whipped cream.
quicker. Like, I need whipped cream.
It makes coffee so good. Yeah,
it's basically an ice cream. It's basically an ice cream. Coffee ice cream.
Well, I'm not putting that much whipped cream in my
Is it squirty cream out of the tin?
No, that doesn't mix in. So it's like the kind where you have to whip it to make it, and so it's just
like a cream. We would call it,
Yes, it's straight cream.
You've been gifted a free concert ticket. It's your choice. Are you going to go for Taylor Swift, Metallica, Coldplay, or Oasis?
Metallica. That's
Gary.
So
we're besties.
I don't really do concerts, but Metallica is the one band that I do still want to go see in concert. I went to a concert.
They're still going, Metallica?
Yeah, they're going now.
They're still touring. Yeah.
World
they're
tour.
Still touring. But I went to a concert for the first time in probably 20 years, like 3 weeks ago. I went to Megadeth.
Oh my goodness, these are my favorite bands. This is like
Megadeth.
Oh yeah, Megadeth. The only one I didn't see, I've seen Anthrax, Slayer. Not Slayer, sorry. So Slayer's the one that got away. I've seen Megadeth, Metallica, Testament, all of that, the big 4, 5, whatever. But yeah, Slayer just slipped through the net, and they're all getting a bit older now. They don't really tour maybe we'll see. Oh, fantastic. That's made my day. Okay, well, it's Instagram story music time. Could this be the perfect end to the show? What song are you going to pick, Max? What song are you going to put to our Instagram story when we share this podcast?
So this is a tough one. It depends. Like you gotta feel the mood of the Instagram post in order to put the music with it, right? You can't just pick a music.
I think you're
and
reading
say,
too much into Instagram.
Am I?
This is why Max has got 39,000 Instagram followers. We've got it goes into the dates.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the post. And what am I listening to?
Okay, so this is like a feel good like post where you're just like, yeah, let's like get some clicks, like something upbeat. I don't usually like no rap or anything. Heavy metal, classic rock is probably like one of the top choices, as is like something a little more poppy, upbeat. But I'm like a classic rock person, so if I find the right classic rock song, that's gonna be what goes on there.
What is it?
Bon Jovi or Heart or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of anything, whatever kind of pops up on Instagram, right?
Okay.
Let's find out.
I'll take care of this music choice, Eddie.
Okay. All right.
Sensational, Max. Thanks for your time tonight or this morning.
Amazing to get to know you. Loved following your Dragon's Back journey and look forward to welcoming you back soon. Maybe next year with a packet of chocolate digestives and some whipped cream.
Perfect.
Your next adventure. Have good luck. Good luck with the adventure racing and the rest of this year.
Yeah,
thanks a lot. It's a pleasure.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks, Max. How awesome was Max? Sounds like he fully embraced his week in Wales too. I said I was going to try it, but I'm still to try the coffee and whipped cream. I just gag a little bit every time I think about it. I need to visualize. Maybe there's a YouTube video how Americans do the old, because he physically whipped the cream, so that's a heavy cream. I don't know about that. We will see. But awesome
pudding.
Music.
That's not a coffee. That's a pudding.
Yeah. Awesome music taste too. Oh, Metler on the podcast. Yeah, he doesn't like a cheese and pickle sandwich, so I'm not too sure.
It was all going so well, wasn't it? I thought he's going to email me after this and say, Eddie, with your background, you and I would make an amazing adventure racing couple. This is obviously all fantasy. And then the minute he went, a cheese and pickle sandwich, I was like, yeah, but that's not just my fuel for races. That's my general life fuel is quite fueled on a cheese and pickle sandwich as well.
I had a cheese and pickle sandwich the other day.
What is there not to love? I think maybe he's not tried it. And so he's just judging beyond. But to be fair, we judged the coffee and the whipped cream. So
well, he needs to up his tea game too. If you're ever going to make a fell runner.
Yeah, he says he wants to come over. What's he going to do at the finish when they go, here's your cake and your sandwich and your tea? And he's going to go, sorry, I'm going to need to go and froth that cream before.
Waiting for the cream.
Oh, we loved it. Thanks so much, Max, for coming on the show. We look forward to welcoming you back to the UK shores sometime soon.
Strava. Thanks, Phoenix Light, for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trail section. Don't forget, patrons can enjoy 10% off over at www.phoenixlight.co.uk. Big time head torch weather now. I had a heavy flex on my dog walk. They're all there with the little Christmas cracker torches.
I've got a question because I've just unboxed my Phoenix head torch. So it's got, and I charged it up, nice and simple to charge. And I pressed the two, so it's got two different lights. One is warm and you can't have them both on at the same time. Is that right?
No. Yeah, I thought you could, but you can't, unless I'm doing something wrong, but I've never managed.
So you've got one, which one do you have? The super bright or the warm? Which one do you go for?
I never go for the warm one. I don't know, it feels a bit old fashioned. I don't know.
Is it like more Christmassy card? Like maybe if when Christmas Eve, you put the warm one on and you go like, oh, everything's like a warm fuzzy glow. And then the sharp bright one is for like racing.
Well, yeah, when I had the dog walkers coming, I turned to the warm one. I don't know why I didn't feel as harsh.
Okay. So I'll go for a little experiment. Yeah, mine's coming back out.
First up on the Strava Club is Mike Brock. Great week, Mike. Long run, workout, and miles with his Wednesday crew. So I visualised our Thirsty Thursday crew.
Yeah, I want to be in Mike's Wednesday crew. What's hanging there?
56 miles for the week with the longest run of 22 miles. That's marathon training, isn't it? I wonder what he's doing. What's coming up? Chester's just been. When's York?
York's coming up. Yeah, York's coming up. Yeah, look, not too much climbing, just a nice long run of 22 miles, nice long run. And about 60 miles, he's in the pits, he's in the trenches. trenches. And he's going to say, no, I'm not. I'm just doing a winter base miles.
But 2,625 feet for the vert for the week. Painted runner next up. Request to follow. But I wonder what that 34-mile run was. Was it a race? I initially thought it was a race, but I thought, well, that's 73 miles total for the week. So maybe not a race, unless it's a practice race. You know, it's not your A race, it's a practice race. But either way, wow, 34.5 miles for long run, 8,110 feet of vert. Next up is Matthew Locke. Now, Matthew won a race. And look at that average pace for the race, 5:30.
Up. That's my strides. That's my strides average pace.
Well, I remember in COVID, I think it was Greener Miles running. They were doing lots of running challenges just to keep everyone, interested. And I'm sure one of them was their mile pace. And where I live, you can go to, say, Dalton Park, and you can run all the way down to Seaham. It's sensational. If you want to do a fast 5K.
Yeah, I've seen you.
And I might have done a 5:30 for 1 mile. But to do 12, that is absolutely sensational. Wow, smoking fast. And a long run too. He wasn't just content with winning a race. Ugh. He went and did a 20-mile run. You make me sick.
Get out of our Strava club. You're not welcome.
But yeah, 70.2 miles, the longest run of 20 miles and 2,612 feet of vert. Sensational. Well done. This week's heavy flex goes to past guest. Has David been on the show once or twice? I'm not 100% sure, but he's definitely been on the podcast. Smugglers Way FKT. Yeah, heavy flex. 36.84 miles in 5 hours and 51 minutes. Sea to sea. Absolutely love it. Boss Castle to, how would you pronounce that? LOOE. Is that Lou?
I'm not saying anything.
If you remember David's name, David is one of the co-founders. There's a lot of co-founders to Green Runners, but David is one of the co-founders to Green Runners, and they are trying to raise some money. And Green Runners is run by volunteers, and they basically would like to expand the work they do, and it's going to cost the buck. So if you would like to support Green Runners, and more importantly, you can afford to, then yeah, check out Green Runners, and you can find a link to Green Runners over at teaandtrails.com. Kudos to all our Strava Club members. And if you would like to be in with a chance of a random shout out, then yeah, pop over to Strava, search for Tea and Trails and join our Strava Club.
Are you enjoying the new Strava AI feature, Gary?
Do you have to pay the big bucks for
that?
No,
is it only the big bucks?
I don't know. I've not seen it.
So many of my athletes have been screenshotting what the Strava. It's hilarious. He's a little bit too friendly for someone who's just come into my life. He's a little bit too chummy, a little bit too familiar, which is something perhaps Strava needs to look at. Okay, so I just did this morning. I did my 3x10 minutes, so just above threshold pace because I can't control myself and I get really excited when I get to run on the road. Here we go. Your fastest run in the last month with an impressive average pace. You pushed into the tempo zone for extended periods, demonstrating strong fitness. Could this be more from the truth? You crushed your latest run, clocking at an impressive 8:14 minute mile pace, a significant improvement from your 30-day average of 10 minute 47, with a high average heart rate of 143 and a relative effort of 53. It's clear you really pushed yourself. Your splits show you alternated between endurance and tempo paces. I did, so that's good. Tackling some challenging hills. No, I would say I didn't go up any hills. Looking at your activity history, you've been consistently logging trail runs and weight training sessions, which is helping build your overall fitness. Keep up the great work.
Can I shock you? I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I'm like, well, you don't come in and tell me. You know what I'm like, Gary. Don't come in and tell me what I've just done. Yesterday, it was like, this is really good. This is consistent. I went on a dog jog and I stopped about 20 times to take photos and make phone calls and take leads off and pick up poo. And I was like, I don't want this. I need to turn this off. Then there's the comedy value of you are sensational. And sometimes, Gary, we need that. Also, my hilly challenging route was 300 feet. So Strava, where's your...
Well, to be fair, Strava is getting data from millions of athletes. So maybe that is hilly in the scheme of everybody who runs.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the problem is you're getting praise for doing... Where do you go? There's no real structure if you've just done a big race or you're on a down week. It's only promoting more than previous, which I'm not too sure if that's good.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see how it goes. And I'm not sure of the point of it's pulling out the data, basically, which you only get if you pay for that premium. It's pulling out, you spent so much time in this zone. So for somebody who perhaps can't afford coaching as well and wants to educate themselves, so there's
all it does is encourage you to stay on that platform longer. That's all it does.
Oh my God. Right. Yeah. Let's move on. Tales from the Trails. Dear Tales from the Trails, we're all busy people. We are. So please don't feel the need to reply. But I just want to express some gratitude to you all and the community you have created. Huge fan of the podcast. This is from my dad. Really appreciate all the hard work. Oh no. All the hard working you and the team put into it. I love the fact you said team. There's no one else.
This is it.
I had a bit of a tricky time of late, which required a visit to the doctors to talk about poo, because what else do runners talk about? Anyway, after lots of testing, it came down to essentially looking for cancer, or IBD. Is that irritable bowel syndrome? Weeks prior, I was riding high, almost about to finish my peak week for my first 100k and my last big adventure before my wife and I have our first baby in January. It all came crashing down in an instant. I have other autoimmune issues that are just about managed, but all of which flare up at some time. Thanks to a great GP who referred me under the urgent 2-week referral, I was given a speedy colonoscopy, which thankfully ruled out cancer there. And then, gosh, that must have been a relief. My wife shed a tear or two. I bet she did. It feels strange to say IBD is icing on a cake of any type, but it generally was. Since having to walk back from a routine morning recovery run because the GP visit I had not been well enough to run. My vest was lingering in the cupboard with tailwind still in the bottles. I couldn't face dealing with it. Oh. Just message me, call me up, I'll come and sort your vest out for you. Anyway, after some real marination in self-pity, I posted something on the Tea and Trails Facebook group and was overwhelmed by the response. So much positivity and kind words of support from people who suffer with this and similar conditions. I don't think there are many sports where people are A, so supportive of each other, and B, happy to discuss poo. We always discuss poo. You guys are absolutely top-class ambassadors of the sport and help nurture this space. Thank you very, very much for building something that has grown into a community of support and care. Please, if you get a spare 10 seconds on one of your shows, could you say thank you to the community, not for supporting me, but for supporting each other? All the very best, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for what you do. Big love to you. I hope you've cleared out that tailwind now because it goes mouldy. From a fellow festerer of tailwind bottles to another, don't leave it in the bottles for too long. I hope you're back on the trails again now.
Yeah, thank you to our community. We set that Facebook group up probably basically to post podcast links in there. That was the initial motivation, but it has grown into a wonderful space. And apart from the odd spam, people trying to sell fake t-shirts,
that doesn't happen so much now. Oh, we've mentioned it now. It's going to come out.
Goodness
now,
me, yeah.
It?
But other than that, it's 100% positive space. And I see some other forums where it's not 100% positive. So yeah, thank you, everybody who gets involved in our Facebook group. Much appreciated.
Thanks again, Phoenix Light, for sponsoring Tales from the Trails. We love sharing your Tales from the Trails. Keep them coming. Please email them to... Oh, wait for it. Hello. Oh my God. It was that. hello@teaandtrails.com. Please make sure you put Tales from the Trails in the email subject too. I think Gary doesn't know what to make of me today. He's absolutely done. He's like,
your hide's a kite. We have a hot 5-star review. Absolute belter of a podcast from the easygoing host. Detailed. Nobody ever describes me as easygoing.
She's so relaxed. She doesn't get stressed. She doesn't get upset about anything. She doesn't send Gary messages about so-and-so said something. And Gary doesn't get worried about interviewing guests. We are easy breezy. This is just something we do in our spare time.
from the easygoing host, detailing the trials and tribulations of their own life and training to top guests who have their own interesting journeys to tell. Thanks for that. That comes from Airborne via Apple Podcasts. And we love your 5-star reviews. It really does help the podcast grow. Please pop over to iTunes or Spotify, and leave us a review. Thank you.
In fact, if you're running now, I need you to stop. Driving, stop. Whatever you're doing, cleaning, stop. Open up your podcast listening platform and just press follow. Or if you already do that, you're sensational. Just take a screenshot, send it to your Tesco delivery driver. Hi, I know you're coming later to deliver my groceries. Why don't you listen to this podcast on the way?
We've got a competition. Harrier Trail Running are supplying the prize for this competition. Thank you so much, Harrier. You could win any one item from the Harrier range. That's an awesome prize. You know, I might be in the market for some running poles, a hydration vest, a dry bag, even an insulated jacket, loads of other items too. And what you need to do is, and my goodness me, thank you so much for everybody
I'm
who's
really
entered.
nervous. I pop back over on that post, Gary.
Well, Harrier have the same post going on their group too. So it's not just our community are commenting and sharing pictures. There is lots of engagement with that post. Yeah, thanks everybody. What you need to do is like the pinned competition post, share the pinned competition post, and in the comments, pop a picture of you on the trails. You do not have to be running. You know what? You don't even have to be on the trails too. I don't mind. We're not judgy. Do what you want. And we'll pick a winner, not at random, on the 21st of October. And thanks to everyone who's already taken part. Yeah, loads of awesome, emotional and heartwarming and funny pictures over on Facebook. Absolutely love it.
Are you a Country File fan, Gary? Do you watch Country File on a Sunday evening?
I love it.
Oh, so they announced this Sunday the Country File calendar winner of the photo, which we always get the calendar. Last Christmas I got two because Finley spent his pocket money and ordered me one himself.
Oh, bless.
Oh my God. We love the Country File calendar. Anyway, but you know when they're like prepping and all the judges have all the pictures like spread out amongst themselves and they're like, which one? Shall we choose the squirrel or shall we choose the seal? That's my favorite. Do we need to do that? Do we need to print all the pictures off and then you and me and Kate sit at a big table with loads of tea and cakes?
That's a lot of paper, Eddie. That's a lot of printouts.
Just get on an iPad then. Let's buy an iPad with Sea and Trails money. What's coming up, Gary? What's coming up? What you doing?
We are Wednesday, so although the plan is go for a run, I have already been for a run. But
You're sensitive.
I was like, so much.
Don't pretend. You're always like that. Just around Morrison's Cafe. Bacon, eggs.
I should go to the gym. I do my routine for the week normally is 2 at the gym and 1 at home, the core bodywork stuff that I do. So I've done the 1 at home yesterday, so I am ahead of the game. Hopefully get to the gym twice. It's the Good for Age London Ballot. I was cute because I think the ballot closes for the Good for Age on the 31st of October. So I thought, I don't want to talk about it because that might motivate somebody else to enter, then that reduces my chances of getting through the ballot.
That is
that's
terrible. It's exactly who you are. You just have to have a
well, I'm talking about it. So
real talk to yourself about it.
Well, I'm talking about it, so it's not me. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed I get in and everybody else who has entered the ballot. Hopefully my Manchester time, I've got enough. I don't want to be too confident, but I think I've got enough of a buffer. So we're going to entertain you with lots of tarmac running chat, Eddie. But Robbo is going to be tortured. My goodness me, he's not looking forward to it.
We're going to set up
my plan is
separate WhatsApp group.
My plan is, although I will do London Marathon if I'm fortunate enough to get in, I'm training for all county tops. So London Marathon is going to be a long run. I will not be paying any attention to 20s, 5 times a kilometre, whatever it is, whatever the old. So we'll see. Just a greedy runner, basically. Committed to another race too. So I mentioned earlier 13 valleys or 7 valleys. I'm not 100% sure. It's like the Lakeland 100 and the Lakeland 50. I always just think it's got to be the 100. We'll see. I don't have to make a decision just yet. And like I said earlier too, cross country the weekend, but I am not going to do it if my heart rate variability and my resting heart rate and my breathing hasn't improved. What about you?
I made a bit of an error. So I knew I was going to, this week we have moved. We're in our new house, but we are waiting furniture. We don't have any furniture actually. So I need to order some furniture, but we're waiting for all our stuff, including my gym stuff. So I heavy loaded the front end of the week thinking I'm going to get my heavy weights done. Not ideal, but I want to still get my weights done because I won't get any done for the rest of the week. So I did really heavy weights on Monday. And then yesterday I had to single-handedly move out of the cottage. Oh my God. Dragging those like wheelie bag suitcases up and down stairs and into the car is like, I'm glad I'm so strong, but oh my God, my arms and legs were not feeling it. But I am feeling the fact that my treadmill is being delivered tomorrow. I cannot wait.
Yes.
It is going into the garage, and will be, the minute they plug it in, the removals men, I'll just be like, get out of my way. Get out of my way. I'm going to lie on it naked.
I'd put it in the middle of your house before you've got furniture in.
Too right in front of the TV, like, so I'll just run on it all the time, and the kids, everyone else just has to like listen to me breathing and sweating. So we've got our stuff coming. That's really exciting. Bryn is coming home. That's even more exciting. I don't know.
Yay!
Is that more exciting? Furniture.
Yes.
I need to spend a lot of money on furniture. Oh my God, this is going to be. We did budget for this, so we've got a little pot to buy, but Eddie must not delve too deep into the pot. She must only buy furniture. She must not buy new dumbbells.
Dumbbells and race entries.
Dumbbells and race entries. So I've done my gym work. I've done my 3 by 10 minutes. I just did 3. Last week I did 4, but this 3 were a lot more sensational. And I set out, dear listeners, if you are in a time of turmoil and stress, or you're tired, I gave myself the option of 3 to 4, 10 minutes, minimum 3, maximum 4. There's no like weakness of going, I did 3 really good, but by the end of the 3, I was like, yeah, I'm in a good space. I'm working really well, but I've got to go home and work for 10 to 12 hours on my house and work and everything. I'm going to leave a bit of gas in that tank. The 4th one would have been good. It would have been great to get it done, but I also would have been gassed for the rest of the day. So 30 minutes worth of work. Pinging along, Gary. Pinging along.
I think it's good that sometimes if you've got a workout, you've maybe feeling a bit of workout anxiety, and you just don't do that last set. I did some strides, and I think it said 8 strides. I did 4.
Strides I always believe that strides should be feel. And if you do 4 and you're like, either it's not coming, or you're like the 4th one, you're like, I am literally Usain Bolt, then that's done. But I tell you what, I have committed the last month, when things have been a bit up in the air, of doing strides. I've always done strides like a couple of times a week, but now I do them pretty much every single run, at the end of every run, or in the middle of the run. If I get to a hill and I want to do uphill strides, and it happens that there's a hill, I will do it then, because sometimes the second half of the run is sensational when you've done the strides.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did the 3 strides uphill, and then I walked up the rest of the hill, and then did the last stride on the flat.
Flying.
Oh, I might have even done a 5.5 minutes.
5.5 minutes. It's probably, I wouldn't even probably go back into my pace for like my tempo threshold sessions, because I do that all on heart rate. But strides, I love it, because I go in and I go, oh my God, for 15 seconds, I was as fast as whatever his name was on Strava.
For 12 miles.
But I truly believe it's making such a difference to my general running speed, my general running economy, my general running form, how I'm feeling. And I was saying, like, my niggles are really clearing up, and I think it's because the strides as well, they really make you run well. They really the glutes.
Well, yeah, and you don't really bring in the fatigue of a long rep.
But I do find like if I go all out on a 20-second stride, I am gassed. I am But it's like literally like 10 seconds of gasping.
Yeah.
And then you jog down and you're like fully recovered, and you don't, and you feel better. I love it. So guys, if you're not in a plan, if you're not thinking, you're not sure what to do, just add 4 to 8, 15, 20 seconds, jog back recovery, or really super easy until you feel ready to go again. It does take a little while for that recovery. You don't want to rush it. So just feel like Usain Bolt for a few seconds of your life, and then go back to a crusty old trail runner.
What's your takeaway game? What's your infrastructure for takeaway near where you live?
We've just had a lot of hilarity, haven't we, during this podcast, because the Tesco delivery driver couldn't find the address, and I couldn't help him, because I was like, sorry, I don't even honestly.
I don't know where I'm at.
I can give you a 7-mile running route around here, but I don't actually know where we are. It's 30 minutes to our nearest place, Gary. So the takeaway is not looking so likely.
That's failed the test already.
Oh,
I need a walking distance shop.
Oh, no. There's nothing walking distance. But also that's good, because like you, I can't be near places like that, nor can Bryn. We need distance. If we can sniff that chippy, we're down there. So sorry. Yeah, when you come round knocking on my door famished after your run,
I'll bring the chips.
oh my God, you're in. You're straight in.
Thanks for tuning in, and thank you all so much for sticking with us to the bitter end. Please share this episode, pop over to YouTube and subscribe. Yeah, it helps us loads. That's how we grow and keep showing up week after week after week. And thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, Phoenix Light UK, X Miles and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. Remember those new customer discount codes, T15 for Protein Rebel and T24 for Precision Fuel and Hydration. And thanks to our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Let the trail rise up to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to your future self. Breathe and believe, and progress, not perfection. My name is Eddie Sutton.
And my name is Gary Thwaites.
That was episode 91 of the Tea and Trails podcast. Hey, episode 100 might be my Winter Downs 200 episode. That would be great, wouldn't it? Our final ever Tea and Trails episode 100. Winter Downs 200. How Eddie puked away around the South and North Downs Way.
Do you want some download dates? I don't know if I should break you this on the air. You know, your spine episode was our top show.
Oh, no. Who?
Not anymore.
Who?
It's a knowledge piece, actually. Episode 21, beginner ultra running tips, nutrition tips, and tips for crewing an ultra marathon.
Don't even remember
8,000.
that.
Episode 21, yeah, it's a while ago, but 8,170 downloads against yours, which is pretty impressive. 8,068. Big numbers.
Not enough though. Right, guys, you like my spine one. Go back. You've listened to it once. Let's get Eddie
Episode 7.
Episode 7. Go back, relive that trauma and listen to my poor tired voice. I'll never forgive you. You made me do that on the Monday.
When I did 13 Valleys and I was in bits.
Do you think
and,
of me? Do you think I made Eddie do that? I am a terrible, terrible boss.
Yeah, terrible co-host. Sorry. What happened again?
I think we did
we
it.
have a week off now.
We did it in 2 waves though, because I think we did like a couple of hours, and then I was like, I gotta go sleep, Gary.
Time out.
Time out. Right, I've got to go and order a lot of white furniture that's the request for Evie's room. Finley's just requested a large speaker.
Okay. Is this podcast content? Are we sharing this with her?
White furniture for Evie's room, large speaker for Finley's room. Rory just wants his football goals delivered. Oh,
yes. That's all you need.
That's all you need. He was like, he went out this morning and ran on the lawn and was like, "It's good, Mum. This is good. This is good." Right. Pray for Eddie this week. Pray for Gary. Signing out.